today, even though the market seems to be puking a bit today. Um, but we do have AMD earnings today. So on today's live stream, that's what I want to focus on, right? We're going to be looking at AMD's earnings call. There's also a few other earnings that are going to be happening today that maybe we might jump into in between if we kind of just go really quick to the calendar. Today, we have AMD earnings, and I think the only one other Lumentum might be interesting. Obviously, kind of that momentum with the AI space and Supermicro, right? Supermicro is also having their earnings today, so we'll jump in between those three, mainly focusing on AMD. If there's any downtime, obviously we will kind of look at the other players, but AMD will be the main focus today. Um, and I wasn't even sharing my screen of kind of the calendar. So let me just showcase the calendar again. There are a few conferences happening today in the overall market. If you are an AI or stock investor, Intel was at a Cisco AI Summit, Microsoft, Amazon was at an AI Summit. You have Skyworks also reporting earnings today, and Enphase. There might be some people that follow those companies, but again, AMD, Lumentum, then you have Supermicro. And later tonight, you do have Google and NVIDIA at an AI summit as well. So if you're following this channel, I'm probably going to kind of do a deep dive on these, on at least the crucial ones like NVIDIA, Cisco AI Summit, and obviously AMD's earnings are going to be crucial. Now it sucks, right? It does suck for AMD investors, right? Some investors might be saying that why did the market have to tank during kind of AMD earnings season? And we see Nvidia down 3.4%, Broadcom down roughly 4%, Micron down roughly 5%. We'd love to hear in the chat if anybody is buying anything. Um, so if anybody bought anything, I just actually did a very small bullish spread on Nvidia, nothing crazy. I just wanted to increase my exposure. Um, but I do believe I don't want to go heavy right now, just yet, right? I mean, I'm already heavy in the market, but I don't want to like dump cash just yet. Um, but Nvidia, a lot of the Max 7s look interesting, right? Nvidia was down 3.3%, Microsoft in the 410s. Some people got excited about Meta back below 700s, kind of returning those gains that it gave us from the overall earnings. The only real green one I see today was Palantir. I do think we still had other earnings as well. Teradyne reported earnings. And they were up about 11%. So a few earning players did show a little bit of growth. But we saw people. All right. So John, he bought AMD and Supermicro longs. Nice, nice. We have someone here buying Microsoft. I think I really like Microsoft right now. We have P Money here buying HIMS. HIMS is also very attractive. Actually, no. HIMS is not. I was looking at Broadcom. HIMS is not one I follow, but it's definitely one that has been very, very volatile. Uh, Down, wow, 25%. Wasn't this at like 50? Yeah, it was in the 50s this past year. Not a market I follow, but definitely the excitement. Um, Jose, any thoughts on Credo, HA production? Nothing. Yeah, nothing like, I mean, just on the top level, they can definitely benefit from this AI networking solution. I mean, their active electric cables are exciting. Right, the purple cables, everybody's using them. You also have a recent, they're moving into, they made a recent acquisition to do ALCs, active laser cables. I think it's laser or LED. I forget what the actual one. But there's growth opportunity here, right? The stock is definitely, it's one of those that saw that early excitement. Now kind of seeing these pullbacks, I personally like when stocks get pulled back because you kind of escape a little bit of the right. I'm pretty sure there were a lot of people talking about at 164s, at 180s, and now those people that were talking there are gone. And I like when people start to hate stocks. So Credo, I don't have a true deep dive just yet, but the top level networking is definitely exciting for them with their AECs. Any thoughts on the Redwire? No, I do not have any thoughts on Redwire. ABJ bought Nebius, Amazon, SoFi, and Supermicro. A lot of people are bullish on Supermicro, it seems. I buy it every week, so I never have any cash to load on dips. Been buying about nice. That's awesome, right? That weekly dollar cost average, in my opinion, is the ultimate win. Um, What's Uber? I personally like Uber, right? I do like Uber. It's in a few of my portfolios. I can't believe it's pulling down so much. I think Uber is a big winner with AI, and not just from autonomous driving. I think there's other aspects and efficiencies that Uber can gain that would dramatically help the top and bottom line number grow. Awesome, thank you. Lots of $200 price target. What are we talking about? AJ Productions. Is this for Credo? I probably missed. AMD is down zero point 0.7. I find it tiring when YouTubers open with crash. One even used bloodbath. I think the market crash is seeing. I mean, I would say some people, stocks are definitely experiencing some pain. I mean, from even if you look from all time highs, right? You have CoreWeave is down to 85. Nebius is down as well. A lot of these have pulled back. I mean, you can go, oh, Nebius is green today. Oh, CoreWeave is green. What ended up happening? My little one, this is when my little one woke up around this time. And so I've missed the market from here on, but it seems like everybody likes AI again. Hey, we got some green. That is actually pretty exciting. Um, we all know, AMD will go up 20% after hour. Do we? That would be wild. I, I, I don't know. NASDAQ AMG. We did see a little return. Okay, nice. Palantir Bull is AMD's 35%. How much is Palantir Bull? Really hope it's a great quarter. The other thing is Palantir Bull, and for a lot of people, is like, right, it could be a great quarter, but the market might still kind of give it a negative price action. So that's also something to consider, and to remember, right? Some of the pains, even if earnings are okay. Getting tired of this is an unfortunate, right, Michael? The daily NVIDIA fear and all this does create, because NVIDIA is the biggest player, right? So fear on NVIDIA does create fear for the rest of the market as well. I really do enjoy NVIDIA at 180s. What's 100 now? 25%. Nice. Curious. Now you got me. Interested, Palantir. Boom. And AMD was what you mentioned, 35. I think you mentioned 35. Then Palantir is 20 something. What are some of your other big players? And guys, I appreciate the support, the comments. If I missed your hellos, hello. It's just going so fast. Well, faster than I can handle, which is, so just want to say good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Shout out. Thank you for joining me, for this live stream. What was the negative news on NVIDIA? I think it's just a lot of negative press between NVIDIA and OpenAI, right? There's that drama with OpenAI, that NVIDIA is no longer investing 100 billions, but NVIDIA never really promised 100 billion all at once. It was more of just up to 100 billion over multiple years, right? So it's like the market, I don't know. I think the people that don't know this market are starting to write a lot of stories about this market, and they hear something from X or from somewhere and they believe it's the ultimate truth, and then they run with it. And then when they hear something else, which is the actual truth, you see kind of, oh, what's going on? Is this bearish for the market? So I think it's just a lot of people that don't know this space or have been following it for a while are writing too much information on big media places, and it's creating a lot of fear. Deep dive on Olympus, or I haven't looked at it just yet. Maybe I might do that for the overall community. Do you see AMD breaking 10 billion this quarter? Yes, that's realistic to me. I mean, let's just jump into really quick, because this is an AMD episode, but at least until then, feel free to post any questions. I'll try to do that Q&A session of earnings. But let's go to total revenues for AMD. Let's look at quarterly basis. Let's look at what the market expects and what the market expects for next quarter. See, so for this quarter, AMD is expecting $9.7 billion in revenue. The market, AMD actually guided for that. So this is what analysts expect. And the analysts expect around $9.7 billion in revenue. AMD actually projected around similar numbers. I think they projected 9.6 plus or minus $300 million. With what we know in the server CPU market, with what we know in the kind of client market, I think there's just opportunity just within the CPU space. Now, AMD is also selling the MI350. We heard Oracle was already getting shipments of that. So there's some strength there. And we haven't really, it's not actually, no, that's not going to talk about any of that. But yeah, I think 10 billion is definitely possible, especially if we do see some nice improvements in the embedded business as well. But I think just server CPUs could actually be a good push to get it closer to 10 billion. Even if it's not if it's not 10, it'll probably be closer to 9.9 in my opinion. Now, for the next quarter, they're expecting around $9.4 billion in guidance. If if we start to see sequential growth, I think the sequential growth story is going to start happening pretty soon. And by that, I mean that every single quarter from here on out is driven by growth and demand of AI. That would be a massive turnaround story for this player. When you start to see those, everything be a step function up. And I expect it more closer to the MI450, but if the MI350 does extremely well, if we are seeing some crazy demand pulls for server CPUs, if the embedded market picks up, and if potentially China market opens up, right, if we actually do get some orders from it, I can see a nice step up function into the MI450, which would be pretty exciting. Um, I've got to send him the stream. He just landed. He was on a flight, so he landed. I I have to send him something. Um, Mr. Couch, but I don't know. You inspired my core weave buy 4 months ago. Hopefully 4 months ago is when it was at 70s and not 130. Because I really was bullish on it when it was in the 70s and 80s. Everyone be sure to appreciate it. Like always, thank you guys for all the support, AMD is a buy. Dr. Su and team is guiding this ship in the right direction. The next 24. That's the only thing though, right? So Larry, I agree. Stock is very bullish. It has the opportunity to grow and be a multi-bagger. That's why I own it. The only thing is, I think while Lisa Su is a great leader, she tends to be very conservative in guidance in the short term. Um, Yes, I agree with this. I agree because this is like where Lisa Su no longer has to be conservative, right? If you do see the numbers of the MI450, even if she's conservative, you still see that massive growth. Um, I mean, it's you can make money in any type of market, right? I can definitely, and especially even in days like earnings, right? Just on earnings days, if you end up selling some calls, stocks can definitely go up and you also can go down. And then just the premium itself. There's also the potential with the overall market and with the earnings. Um, it's a little catalyst for a short-term dip or something. For my stocks, I'm always bearish in the short term, but bullish in the long term. Extremely bullish. AMD or NVIDIA, Shady. I mean, interesting. I mean, it depends on what's your bullish thesis. I mean, I like NVIDIA as my number one position. I own both. I don't think it's ever or question. It could be an and question. So I like both. Loan calls on the AMD went down. I agree. I mean, especially if you do believe this could be a trillion-dollar company in the next few years. Why do you think what do you think is a buying point for Microsoft? I personally think now is a buying point for me. I've been adding on Microsoft. I never try to time the bottom, right? That's definitely not something I'm doing. Um, I mean, to me, I like it. I like it. I like it. Yep, I agree. Microsoft is definitely crazy. If we get 10 billion and forecast of 9.6 billion, what do you think the price action will be like? I don't know. I mean, it's 10 billion. I think if it hits 10 billion and then you see sequential decline, I don't think the market will call this an AI story just yet. Khalil. I think I think for me it would be extremely bullish if we see $10 billion forecast, 10 billion revenue. Even if we don't see $10 billion in revenue, if we see 9.9, but we see a sequential growth on guidance, that to me would be ultimate bullish, and I think that could create a nice price action tomorrow. Now, what that price action would be, that's not. Oracle is looking so juicy. My ad before earnings. Shay, I mean, Oracle definitely. I mean, 150s now. I don't know what is that. This is now I have a list of stocks I wouldn't mind kind of going bullish in either via some option calls, some option spreads, or some more equity. Um, Oracle is definitely one in that list. I'm already pretty exposed in this market with CoreWeave, so that's the only thing. Excuse me, that gets me a little bit more hesitant from adding. It's just I'm already so exposed to the AI infrastructure space. Down like every time. Um, this is probably the most important earnings this week regarding AI. So tech stocks should pump in. You think it's this one? I think it actually might be. I think Google reports tomorrow, right? Alphabet reports tomorrow. I think Google might be more important for the AI space. Right? I do think Google, and then Thursday we have Amazon, right? I think Google and Amazon might be a little bit more in the AI market as both kind of have their own AI chip, both have the clouding market, and both kind of work with some form of AI company, right? Amazon Anthropic, Google also Anthropic, but Google more Gemini and its own solutions. But I think those two players are a little bit more important for it. Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue for me for us for super micro. I think the company sucks, its business sucks. But I mean, if today they come out and say some massive orders and some massive demand increase their overall thing, I think you could see some growth potential here. I'm actually curious. Hopefully, I'm not showing or not showing. I just want to look at something. Looking at super micro. I'm clicking some stuff. I just super micro, just a random YOLO play for the day. Let's see what seems crazy. Sorry, just doing some math here. Do, 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 do. If you buy, I might do a little. I'm not gonna talk because then you guys lose money. It's bad on me. I'm not gonna share my YOLO play, but I might do a YOLO play here for super micro. Added some Oracle and a little Bitcoin today. Nice. I'm not too much into. Sorry guys, I need to open up a different screen really quick. Uh, uh open up. Let's see. Supermicro is going to pop post earnings because it's been sandbagged so badly. I think that's one of the things. I think right it's in the market. There's always that stretch effect, right? Sometimes stocks go up too much and it just pulls so much on the rubber band that eventually needs to pull back down. And then what there is the other way around. It's all about kilowatt rack standardization and no constraints. Are we talking about AMD in general? What are we talking about here? What is your most promising growth orientated, high quality, and the best software stock? That's a lot. I don't know. In the software market, I don't follow it too much. I don't really follow the software market too much to have that one it, right? That one it, like I can say. Um, but would love to hear what is one of your, if you were to say one high quality, um, software stock that I should research on, what would you guys let me do? People talk about ServiceNow a lot. I think ServiceNow. Salesforce. I don't like Salesforce. Salesforce is probably one of my least favorite. Um, the main reason is one of my least favorites is I honestly am not a fan of the CEO. I think the CEO is how do I don't know, very arrogant. Very, very arrogant, I think. And that goes to me, that goes a long way. I think I don't like that. Sorry, but open pause. Give me one quick second, guys. Sorry, guys, I'm just doing something super quick. Did they found Cybersecurity ones. Actually, now you talk to me. Cybersecurity ones are definitely interesting in the software space. Software and semiconductors, Synopsys and Cadence are, I think, would be my. If I had to play in that game, it would be those two. Um, it would be those two. Sorry, guys. Just give me a quick second. It's about 25. All right. I just did a quick YOLO super micro. All right, close. Now I'm all in. I'm all in here. Hey Jose, I am 75% AMD and 25 NVIDIA. I like this. I really do. I could never do that, but I like it. Because of current circumstances, the future AI revenue, don't shout at the screen. What about a bet on Qualcomm? I'm sorry, am I shouting at the screen? Um, Apple and Meta blew earnings. The only thing, Russell, I would say with Qualcomm is it is a very consumer-based market, right? You kind of have the CPU for the phones, you have CPUs for PCs, you have CPUs and processors for the automotive and robotics. Um, and for that reason, I think guidance could be weak due to memory prices, right? Because of memory prices and the shortage of memory, the consumer market is definitely seeing some bit of a slowdown. Um, so I just don't know how the market can react to that based on guidance, right? But if there was a headwind for for Qualcomm, it is definitely the consumer space. Mark is not that bad, Jose. He is sounds more like a snake oil salesman. So he's not. I mean, I wouldn't like a snake oil salesman, right? I think I don't know. I don't like him. Microsoft or Oracle. If I had to pick one, Nick Palladino, Microsoft. Now CEO is in Goodfellas, was he? Is that the only bullish alpha you need? Pure storage is good. SAS in the memory. Oh, that's actually a unique way. Yes, yes. I mean, if memory is short, if you are a storage business, shouldn't you be able to be charging more money because you have more demand? Is that pure storage? How has this one done? Does this one report earning? I don't know what they do. Um, but any company that is, again, if storage is some form of bottleneck right now, that means a lot of customers are coming your way and you'll be able to have better pricing power. Am I crazy to think something like that? Um, um, Jose on one screen, and you know that boy, he didn't, I asked him, I was like, yo, am I joining your live stream? And he didn't answer. I don't know. But let's see what other ones. US. Oh wow. Neil, yes, Neil is just landed. He is traveling. He landed. I'm gotta send him. Let me see if I can share. Let me just share with him. Hold on. I don't know. All right, let me invite. Copy link. I'm gonna put him as a guest. All right, copy link, and let me send it to Neo. And he said he might join if possible. All right. But I don't know what kind of Wi-Fi he might have. Left on red. Who got left on red? Yeah, I did. I did. Amit went Hollywood. Left on red. 100%. You guys, if you're watching him while you're watching me, so I mean, he left me on red. Yeah, he might not be doing it. That's fine. I'm joking. That dude is awesome. Is that he's not going to do AMD. I forgot what company. What else is going on? Super Micro? What's going on today? Is there any other? What could possibly be done today? Unless he might just be doing Technical Tuesday. Um, now he sent me. Now he sent me a link, but I'm already here. This guy. You guys complain. See, you guys complain heavy, and now he's. What's going? Are we all YOLO on AMT? I don't think. Okay, so they're doing Technical Tuesday. Um, let's hope to shock the world. Um, but yeah, I mean, is anybody here a Pure Storage bull? What are other competitors to Pure Storage? Now I have to look in this one. This one's making into the board. Let's look at Pure Storage. All right, putting it on the board. Um, anyone here looking forward to Super Micro? I'm looking forward to just hear the AI demand story, right? I think Keith, um, I don't mind if I don't mind too much what happens to the stock. I just want to hear more of that story. Thanks. Yeah, he just texted me. He's like, let's do recap. He said let's do recap tomorrow. Yeah, he's not streaming the call. Yeah, recap tomorrow. Yo, you guys make work. It seems it's easier to just tell you guys to tell him something than for me to message him. I'm one of the smallest YouTubers compared to he hangs out with. Right? Um, is this related to AMD? I mean, we're waiting for the call, right? So AMD's call is not going on just yet. Um, but we will do AMD's earnings call, right? That would be the that's what's gonna end up happening. We're gonna do AMD's call. I don't think their call happens till 4:30. Right? When is their call? I should know this. AMD's Investors Relations. Um it is at 4:30, right? Or is it at 5? Boom, 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 boom. AMD reports fourth quarter at 5. All right. So you guys got a whole hour with me while we digest the information, while I take quick bathroom breaks because I already got to pee, and so much more. That's the thing. I'm defined, right? My content is defined. It's within the industry, and that's okay. I'm happy with it. You guys are cool. What are your thoughts on earnings? Oh, Super Elizabeth. Now that see you guys come in with the smart information, right? So we're gonna, I guess, well, first around 4:15 is when we get the earnings call, right? That's when we're gonna get the transcript. So we're most likely gonna jump into the transcript. Let me also open up Super Micro Investors Relations, so we can have that open. All right, so we're gonna have these two open so we can see when they come out. If you guys see it, give me the actual stuff, right? And we're gonna have X.com open as well. Um, I'm just gonna post my yearly. I was the first one to do this about a year ago. Started with AMD Investors. Now everybody copies it. I started the trend. You can go back. I am the trend of this meme. Real quick. F5. So let's create F5. Just F5 key. Shift F5. I like this one. Is this one cool? AMD Investors after the market closes, waiting for earnings results. Ha 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 ha. I am so funny, guys. You guys should just LOL so I can think I'm awesome with my bad jokes. All right. So enough of that. We're also going to be waiting for earnings call. Oh, now it's better. It actually goes super fast. All right. So we're going to have that open. We're going to have AMD one open just so we can see. I tend to like it's I'm an old school right here. I like to use Google Finance. Obviously, we can open up TradingView, but I just like to see any reaction. All right, so we have that. What else am I missing? Am I missing anything else? Then we have X open, and I love your live streams, Jose. Just the best. So chill and positive. I try, right? I mean, I'm here to just chillax with you. Mario, where is my money? You know, there's this guy, Tim. He knows my name. Well, my middle name. My middle name is Mario. Now everybody knows it. But I feel like he's a friend that's just stalking me, a stalker friend. For a moment, I thought you were doing earnings directly with Lisa based on the picture. One day, Peter. Imagine if I could. I think it's not impossible. I mean, maybe we can have her. It's like I don't think we can have her in the channel. Too much legal stuff. But um, what time? 4:30, 5 o'clock is earnings call. When is Super Micro's earnings? Um, they are at. You don't give a time. They're all at 5. So I mean, we can't do Super Micro and AMD. We're obviously just going to do Super Micro. I mean AMD. Uh, let's see. So you guys liked the joke. It was funny. Alphabet XXX long, extremely long. Nice, nice. Um, yeah, earnings don't show up till 4:15, right? Earnings don't show up till 4:15. I will hope it would jump. I do too. It's time. Oh, I forgot to close the market. My bad. That's usually Neil's thing, right? Bing bong, bing bong. I haven't done a market open or market close. I forgot. It's stay away. I would stay away, but will we listen to the call there? We will listen to the call. Yeah, we're gonna listen to the call live. It's gonna be live, and I won't be talking during the call. Then, so the overall goal is press release is gonna come out 4:15. We're gonna look at the press release. We're gonna look at maybe press release of Super Micro as well. See how those stocks are acting. Then at 5 o'clock, we're gonna put on AMD's earnings. I'm gonna shut the trap, and we're gonna listen to the earnings call. I'll be taking notes, and around 6 o'clock, I'll do a recap. Maybe we can do a quick Q&A session, but that's what we have in store for today. Um, a genius marketing hitting up Amit while he's busy doing astrology. Is he about to eat lunch? It's 4 o'clock already. Yeah, 4 o'clock. Um, it was so peaceful to watch the market close with no bell. Jose, um, what do you think the 450 Helio cells are going to have margins that are close to NVIDIA GPU cells? I don't think so, Victor, as high. I do think it should be accredited. It should be accredited, right? They have what, closer to 55 gross margins. I mean, even their guidance for their analyst day was around mid 55 as well. So I don't think it's going to be too much. Remember, NVIDIA does have a lot of software solution that they sell. I mean, their GPUs are what, like 5,000 a year per GPU software. So they do sell a lot of that. That helps. Then the networking side helps a lot too. So all that helps them sell more. Regardless, the 450, now you're selling so much at once, it's definitely going to be accreditive. I think that's the right word. Am I using the right word? Um, let's see. AMD to 260. I would love that. SMCI up a little. Let's just look at some price action. All right, we got some price. Did Supermicro report already? Shift F5. Nope. Do we see anything here? Next software. Let's see. Goldman. Nope. Light did report earnings. Hey y'all. Nope. Every 6 months, I hear people claim OpenAI isn't doing real research and it's just incremental, improving ChatGPT. I haven't heard it before. This guy's he's from OpenAI. For some reason, I thought he was from NVIDIA. All right, we don't have anything just yet. Texas Instrument is in talks to buy Silicon Laboratories. Interesting. All right, if you guys hear anything, let me know. All right, let me know. Let me know. All right, so we shouldn't. I mean, any price action right now shouldn't really be anything crazy. Extension. Texas is down on that news. It seems that they were gonna buy a player. This one doesn't show. It doesn't show it. No. So let me go back here. So Texas is down about 1%. Nothing else is. Indy is up about 2%. Is this really White Slam Research? Credo up about. There's some stocks up about. Credo's up 1%. Indy. All right. That's chips and AI. Let's just go to hardware and software. Anything moving here? Light is up. Oh, nice. Light is up about 12%. Light, they report earnings. They are one of the optic space, up about 13%. Nice. Congratulations to, this is another one. This is like, you would think this is another Micron, right? Just continuing to rip. So the light market is there. Do not buy Micron at these levels. I would say same for light, right? I mean, it's just for me. I'm just not a fan. AMD is bankrupt. Bankrupt of what? They have too many shorts. They're bankrupt. Slab is up 40%. I feel like someone was talking about it. Obviously, if I say someone, someone's gonna say, yeah, it was me. But someone's gonna be like, Jose, I told you about this stock 3 days ago. Why didn't you go all in? Um, Mario, if AMD reaches $300, then you can keep the $5 you owe me since our school days. I owe you $5? I know I know who this is. I know who this is. This is my cousin. Um, I'm up 5x on light. It's crazy. Simon. Of course, Simon has everything. All right, Simon has everything. Um, what happened to NVIDIA today? Just a lot of noise, I think. Louis, just a lot of noise. It's just so much noise impacting this. And 1.4, though, 1 wow, we had a lot of people on today. If this is your first time here, my name's Jose Najarro. I pretty much focus in the semiconductor and AI market. That's my true bread and butter. Master's degree in electrical engineering. Pretty much full-time YouTuber and dad. And that's pretty, I got to say husband because the wife is going to get mad. But yeah, enjoy the chills. We're going to listen to the earnings call when they come out. And I guess AMD will go to all-time highs. I hope so. I hope so. So make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Let me make sure I'm also not missing anything in regards to live streams. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Get a seat. We're going to see Lisa Su in a bit. Well, we're not really going to see her. We're going to hear her in a bit. AMD stock still flat. Obviously, we haven't heard anything just yet. Bum, 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 bum. All right, let's see what else. Full-time husband. How to say that? Now the wife gets mad, right? Full-time father. Where is Neil, Jose? I don't know. He's traveling somewhere. He didn't tell me where. He's traveling to PayPal's headquarters to make sure that they do whatever that he wants. Thoughts on Coherent? I mean, same bullish trend as Light, right? I mean, aren't they both in the same market? I'm going to guess Coherent is up on the news that Light is doing good earnings, right? Yeah, so Coherent up about 6.2% on Light's earnings. AMD, amidst not streaming the earnings call. Man, come on. It's such a good call. It's actually boring. I'm pretty sure people are going to be complaining when Jean, the CFO, talks, and everybody's going to be like, I hope she shuts up because she's tanking the market. Or when Lisa Su be like, Lisa, can you just pump the market? You guys better be nice. Thank you, Jason, for the stream. No problem. No problem. Anytime, if you want to call me Jason, go. Yeah, I don't think you have a lot of positions, right, Simon? Just a lot of I've only heard about a few. I know Light, I know Iran, then you have your MRAM, and then I forget what else. It's then face out 5 minutos. 5 minutos for sure. Almost my buy point on NVIDIA is 175. 180. It's $5, really. I'm just curious. If your price point, like, what was 176? Like, does the price point, I'm just curious, right? How strict are you with those? Because 176, I personally, if I had 175 and I see 176, I'm like, you know what? I've been patient. Yeah, let's go, Jason. He is not. Yo, hey guys, this is Neil. Imagine. Thanks, Jerry. Yo, you guys are wild. Surprised no one said it. Thanks, Juan. Oh, let's see. All the Palantir investors in the Miss chat who don't care about semis just make me wonder if they know what they are. I mean, I don't know. This was pretty. Sometimes I regret reading while going with it because sometimes it looks dark and someone could just clip it and be like, "Jose said this about Palantirs and now blah blah blah." What happened with Netflix stock? All right, hold on. It's 4:12. All right, we still have time. So nervous. Don't be nervous. It's okay. What time is AMD out? 4:15. Oh, we pumped an AMD up up 44 cents. Woo. We are pumping, JT. Tell the wife buy some steak, right? Tell the wife to buy some steak. First time tuning in, appreciate the first time. My name is Jason Jerry Juan. And Jensen Nahara would go hard. That's weird. That means either I name my next kid Jensen, Jensen marries me, or I don't know. There's a lot to go there. How do you know the time? AI. Just kidding. They posted on the thingy, right? So usually 4:15, 4:20 is when they release the press release. It's just, I think, always on repeat. 4:15, like 2 minutes from now, is like the press release. It might be 4:20. It actually might be 4:20. But for some reason, I think 4:15. And the earnings call is 5 o'clock Eastern time, which is about 40 minutes. AMD is going up. It's 158. I mean, should we open up? All right. So since we're only going to be focusing on AMD right now, let's just open up charts. Let's just, I don't need any of this stuff. This isn't Technical Tuesday. Let's just hide everything. All right. And let's look at the daily. Let's look at, do I not have aftermarkets? Come on, Jose. More settings. Boom, 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 boom. Events. Where do I put for, I'm a newbie here. Come on. After hours trading. See, this is why we don't do any technical stuff here. It should have been somewhere here. There should be like a after hour movement. Chart interval. Maybe I have to look at the 1 minute. No, it's not that either. Oh man. We're just gonna more settings. We're just gonna keep it with Google Trade. Show extended hours. No, it does say show extended. Oh, is it open right now? Nope. All right. I don't. We're going to keep it here. I don't really care. We're just going to be listening to the call anyways. I got to pee already, man. Bot lad. Don't you have a proper chart, dude? I don't do charts at all. Not at all. Yahoo Finance would have. Oh, there we go. Let's do Yahoo Finance. Oh my God. You guys are geniuses. Geniuses. You guys are the real deal. Loading chart. Oh, you can even join the call from here. That's actually pretty cool. We might actually do that. Got it. What the heck is this? Advanced charts. What the, who does candles? I mean, mountains. And again, why are you, so no, it's just, it's not giving me the chart after hours. Pretty lame, but it's down 2.4%. That I can tell you for sure right now. The day report down about 1.17. Do we have any reports right now? And we're all right, guys. It was nice seeing you guys. We're gonna head out. We'll see you tomorrow. Jokes. I don't think our numbers out. If anybody has the numbers. Okay, yes. So we do have the numbers. All right. So let's lock in. Let's lock in. You lock in, I'm locked in. Are we locked in? Let me just make sure we're locked in. All right. So ignore the noise. Let's just look at the actual number. So we did see $10 billion in revenue. This is wild. It beat expectations already. Gross margins, 54%. So remember, expectations were $9.6 billion. We got that fourth quarter revenue, 9.4. All right. What else do we need for the full year? We did see some massive growth. All right. I don't really care about the full year. AMD reported record revenue of 34.6 billion, gross margin of 50%, non-GAAP gross margins of 52%. 2025 was a defining year for AMD with record revenue and earnings driven by strong execution. Obviously, AI. We are entering 2026 with strong momentum across our businesses led by accelerating adoption of our high-performance EPYC and Ryzen CPUs and the rapid scaling of data centers. All right, obviously, bullish there. Nothing worrying me. Our record fourth quarter demonstrated AMD's ability for profitable growth at scale. We achieved fresh free cash flow. Let's see there. So earnings per share, quarter 3, 75, up 23%. Revenue up 11% sequential and up 34%. Overall, I mean, what is there not to like? So far, everything is good. Again, we're not looking at price action. I'm looking at numbers, right? 34% growth in year over year revenue for quarter four, 40% growth on earnings per share on a non-GAAP basis, and then up 28%. All right, things look good. Year over year, 34% on a GAAP basis, and earnings per share up 26%. Now, full year did include that kind of MI 308 hit, right? So that's definitely important to remember that they did take a hit on the MI 308 data center. Now, let's see. Data segment revenue was up 39%, driven by strong demand of AMD EPYC processors. So AMD CPUs are still doing pretty strong. And this should be a no-brainer because, and I'm going to answer questions in a bit, right? I'm going to answer questions in a bit. I want to look at the press release. I want to get unfiltered, unbiased thoughts, not from any comments, not from any stock price action. I just want to share my thoughts. Then we'll look at some of the questions. And then we're going to look into the call. So EPYC processor, I mean, we heard from Intel, they were a shortage in their end. They had to even move some of their consumer CPUs into the data center or CPU market, their wafers, because there's such demand. So obviously they saw strong demand. So EPYC is still driving. Client and gaming revenue was 3.9 billion, up 37% year over year. Client business revenue in the quarter was a record. So client itself was up 34% year over year, driven by strong demand of AMD's Ryzen processor. All right, that's pretty interesting. Now, the embedded segment was up 3%. We're finally seeing some bit of growth here in the we're seeing some growth here in the embedded side. And this eventually becomes a massive cash flow. I'm here to see anything about the MI 450. So announcing, nope. That's at CES. We got all that. HPE announced that they will be the first. All right. We already know that. AMD planned to joint venture 1 gigawatt. AMD expands. Current outlook. For the first quarter of 2026, AMD expects revenue to be approximately 9.8 billion, plus or minus $300 million. In theory, I think they're up. I think if I may, and again, I see questions here. It seems like it's dumping. The AI story for AMD has begun. And I mentioned the AI story for me for AMD was going to be when we saw this improvements, right? When we saw the improvements in revenues. Why am I not refreshed here? Is it just so quickly that they don't have the numbers? Did I get sold out of Fiscal.ai? Let's go to AMD real quick. Let's go to financials. So the stock is down roughly 5%. Let's look at quarterly basis. Total revenue. All right. So we still don't have the new number. So we did see 10 billion, what was it? 10.3 this quarter. 10.3 this quarter. Let's see. 10.3 this quarter. And they're guiding for on the top end, 10.1, 9.8 plus 300. I think next quarter is another quarter where they're actually seeing growth. I think the AI story for AMD has begun. And I mentioned for me that AI story is when you start to see sequential growth moving forward. And that's what's happening here. Let's kind of go back and then I think we're almost done with this. And then we can kind of get some of the questions and some of the thoughts. AMD will have the call. All right, then all the stuff is the actual numbers that I don't think you guys and all the stuff. Let's see. All right. Now I'm gonna be curious. Let's jump on X really quick. Let's jump on X, and I want to see what what investors in the market is saying are saying. If anything, AMD with their first $10 billion, while not guiding 10 billion next quarter. I agree with Ben here. I don't know who this guy is. I'm following him, but I wager 10 billion is the baseline now and only up from here. Agree. I think the AI story for AMD is beginning. It's truly beginning. AMD double big, but okay, pain, that's fine. Just AMD reporting earnings per share. They beat massive on revenue. Earnings per share, $1.53, beating expectations by $1.24. Revenue of 10.3, beating expectations on 9.7. The story, and again, for sequential, I think they're going to see massive growth here. Let's see. If anybody has any actual thoughts that besides just the number, beat all around, right? We see beat all around. AMD just reported. All right. Nothing that I didn't mention already. All right. All right. So we like that. Now let's jump into questions. Let's look at the stock. Stock is down 4%. All right. Post your questions. Let's start from the bottom. Um, Guidance is kind of light, Jeff. I mean, is it last quarter they did 9.7 plus or minus 300. Now they did 9.8, and we still don't have like a massive GPU coming out in quarter two, right? The big GPU is the MI450 coming out in the second half. Um, so at least for that, I actually thought guidance was different, was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be um, a lot weaker than that. So, I mean, blue. This is, I guess, for every investor. For me, I'm a long-term investor. Everything I saw there is exciting for the stock in the long term. In the short term, sure, you can have that negative. You can have like that negative press of it's not growing fast enough. Um, yeah, I agree. Guidance, right? The consensus was 9.3 billion. They gave us a guidance of 9.8 billion. Um, projection. Put random bells. I project that tomorrow, what's going to happen is we're going to get a lot of analysts um, upgrading the stock based on this guidance. Uh, these numbers are way above expectations. Can we say smash? Also, guidance smash. I agree. Calls will be good tomorrow. I don't know about calls because usually calls are interesting because you have the negative effect of um, kind of like the volatility. I forget what's the Q term. I'm blanking out. But that's taking a hit, right? That's taking a hit. That premium takes a hit because you no longer have an event happening. And that's one of the biggest hits for kind of long-term call buyers. The big question is why down? The market might just want it's cliche to say that, but even with the beat, maybe the market wanted more. I mean, there's this is why I don't really care much about the price action in the short term because in the long term, um, everything seemed good, right? I did not see anything here that would scare me as an investor in Ivy crush. Ivy, that's the term. Thank you. Um, Ivy crash, right? So long-term call buyers usually get hit with that Ivy crush, even if stock. But I do believe we do see some form of not calls, analysts price target increase tomorrow. Um, Actually, let me just have it open for y'all. Let me just have one open while I answer questions. So, like that, you guys, if you're coming in, you get to see what the numbers were. I think I'll just keep this one open. The future investor. They seem like cool people. Um, so this was 8. So let's just keep this here. Oops. I guess I have to find someone else. I just wanted to zoom in for y'all. All right, let's have Sam. Sam. So revenue, again, these are the numbers. Now I'll keep answering some questions. Lisa Sue always sandbags. Again, I mean, right, we saw 9.8 billion guidance last quarter, or 9.7, 9.6, I forget, and they did 10.3. Similar thing here. We saw 9.8 guidance. I think they're going to be. We see 10.5 in quarter one. I'm going to want to hear the commentary from Lisa Sue, but I think it's going to be, I agree with someone else. 10 billion is the new baseline for AMD if all things go well, especially because that guidance most likely does not include any China stuff. That's important to remember. And if we need, I mean, while AI doesn't need CPUs, it is creating a massive growth in the CPU market. It is. I mean, we heard it from Intel, right? Intel has said it. NVIDIA has also said it that Vera is going to be its own CPU platform because they're just seeing demand for AI in certain CPU workloads. So there's definitely AI growth driving CPU market. Um, Big B and the stock proceeds to plummet. Welcome to AMD. If this is your first time joining us at an earnings call, you guys are also going to hate the earnings call and say that everybody else is trying to tank the market. They beat, but it wasn't spectacular. I guess that's the thing, right? I guess the market always wants more. To me, I think that was strong. I mean, there wasn't what they have the MI350. The MI350 not going to do anything crazy, right? It's all about the MI450, but they're still able to see revenue growth there in the CPU space, the consumer space. Um, but I guess right, that's the market. The market needs it. What's happening in the Chipotle? Chipotle, they charge me way too much. Um, Jose, let's go, brother. Let's go. So sick of love songs. So all right, never mind. I can't see a horizon why the stock is Simon, I can't see. Oh man, Simon, are you with that? Because that is the ultimate. That is funny. That is funny. Oh my god. Oh wow. Hey, this guy's clutch, right? This guy's clutch. I meant to send your link for the AMD call. Now we have to listen to the call. Oh, thanks. Just kidding. We were gonna listen to the call regardless. Um, right. Oh, I'm not, I didn't want to. I guess so. Chipotle is. What's going on with Chipotle? Chipotle. How is Supermicro? Right, we'll look at Supermicro in a bit. What's Chipotle's ticker? What is Chipotle's ticker? I am out of it. What is Chipotle stock's ticker? CMG. That's why. They're selling chips too, right? They're selling chips. It's get it, chips. I came up with that one myself. Came from a Amit. What's going on? We're gonna be talking about AMD. We just looked at the earnings call. I mean, the earnings press release. If you're just tuning in, welcome. We had a record fourth quarter revenue of $10.3 billion. We had strong guidance for the quarter, for the next quarter. And yeah, the market's tanking, but I think the stock as long-term investor, I'm okay. Someone is making money, but not you. That's a free thinking way. People came from triple B. Well, it was a triple B, right? Morpheus. It was a B on earnings, a B on revenue, and a B on guidance. Google and Amazon advanced chips came from a mid. Yo, what's going on? Chipotle down. All right, we're not gonna be talking about those chips. Guys, Weiss is down. Will it be back? I mean, level up. Long term, there doesn't anything scary. AMD is going up. I think we're gonna get analyst price targets tomorrow, right? And I guess this is all your fault, right? Every AMD stock investor here that was in the live stream this morning and making fun of PayPal, making fun of SoFi. I never make fun of those companies, but I know you guys did. Now we're feeling their pain, right? That's what happened. This is what happens when you're mean. Jose, thanks for hosting the call. Yep, no problem. Call is happening at 5 o'clock though, right? So for the next 30 minutes, you do have me, right? Hopefully I'm okay. Hopefully I provide some entertainment. Funny. Now I'm Jessica. CMG. Or did someone else use my joke too? Maybe. Never mind. So Jessica, main character syndrome here. I think it said plus or minus 300 million based on China. Did I not read it correctly? Let's look at it. I want to look at that guidance. So AMD expect including. But this is only M3IO8. Because they do have some licenses from China, but that's for the MI308. We still haven't heard about the 325, and that's the better one, right? So NVIDIA and AMD can sell the H20, right? NVIDIA can sell the H20, and NVIDIA and AMD can sell the MI308. Now, with the recent news, NVIDIA can sell the H200, and AMD could sell the MI325. So the market might be a little bit fearful of this because it's like the 308. That's a little bit of you're including China in this, and you're only giving us $100 million. I think the small caveat here is they're only including China with the MI308. They're not including China with the MI325, which is a better, which is the real one. So I think this is definitely going to be a question for this. So Ben, this was a great find. Thank you for this. Yeah, I think this is what Blake, right? I think it happens a lot. It's like maybe earnings aren't that bad. We should go. So for the next few minutes, you guys have me. We are. I don't know if that's the only reason it's down. There's many reasons. Do you think AMD will announce a Meta deal within the next few months? Thanks for hosting. Cheers from Connecticut. Cheers, David. I think it's possible if they have an AI event. I think they won't do it in the earnings call. It has to be an AI event. So hopefully we hear of an upcoming AI event within the next 2 months or 3 months. Um, but yeah. So what is AMD doing right now? AMD is still down 5%, not really recovering. I think much recovery isn't going to happen until um, after earnings. Uh, let's make this bigger. Wait, so this doesn't have after hours. How can I add after hours here? Extended hours. There we go. Thank you. All right. Now, all right. This is better for y'all. I know you guys like to look at charts. All right. You would think MI325. I think there's potential if AMD does sell, is allowed to sell the MI325 in China. That can definitely boost revenue dramatically. Um, AMD is still tanking. Let that baby drop. Why is AMD down? I think the market just wanted more. I don't think fundamentally there's no reason. I think it just guidance might have been a little bit weaker because the wording seems that they might be including China. I think the market is misunderstanding that portion. 223 on AMD, 226. I mean, well, remember, I think most likely related. I think the market there's so much to worry about the semiconductor market right now, right? You have the worry of AMD, of the memory market, right? Of the consumer space kind of slowing down because of memory market. There was a turnaround seen in the embedded space, but now with memory prices going up, like how memory is definitely playing a form of headwind for the industry. AMD to 100, I don't know, like 199, but 100, I don't think so, Dragos. I'll be buying. I would be margining like crazy if we do 100. Let's get this market crash to valuations return to normal and good earnings will actually do what they should do. The AI story is just scary for some. It's just, I'm so cooked. Don't be cooked. I pick up a bad day to stop. Man, then does that work? Obviously, I'm not going to talk. They just said they got 400 million from China. When did we see that praise? Because earnings call is not happening. When's Supermicro at 5? AMD crushed numbers. Yes, I agree. AMD crushed numbers. Why should they include China? I don't think they should include China. Sling. I don't think they should include China. Uh, all right, guys, hold on. I need to take a massive, massive leak. I'll be right back. I'm gonna. You guys can. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Be right back. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I promised I wash my hands. He needs to dump. Does anyone know if? I mean, the call. Does anyone know if the call will affect the stock? I mean, it all depends on commentary and the questions, right? If we get some great questions about China, if we get some questions about the MI450, right? That's something that investors are extremely curious about. We saw kind of those delays of the MI450. Is that true? More commentary on guidance. You include the MI308, but are you including any MI325? I'm depressed. Don't be depressed. He ain't a true streamer. I ain't no true streamer. I stream for an hour usually at most. And I'm here just to chill. Dump to 210. 10. That'd be Jose, do we have Super Micro? Oh, let's look at Super Micro. Yeah, let's look at Super Micro while we rate here. I'm curious more on guidance. So let's change it up a little bit. It seems I don't think we have any Super Micro just yet. No, we don't have Super Micro just yet. That's weird. Why have they not shared? Why are they waiting? Do we have Super Micro? Did Super Micro not give numbers? Oracle files for offering. Oh, did Oracle finally have files for the offering of that 20 billion? How's Oracle stock reacting? Not down much. Not down much. AMD. AMD got 390 millions of quarter four sales from China from MI308. I did not see that. Okay, that's good to know. So that helped them beat, right? I guess that's the other thing, right? That helped them beat. So maybe the market might be a little bit worried that almost 400 million of quarter four sales came from China. If they didn't get that, they wouldn't have beat on revenue. Interesting. That could be a way around. That could be one of the reasons the stock is dropping. Sorry, that must have been a little bit too much scrolling for y'all. Let's go back to AMD charts. I was getting busy. Tell us for someone that has no AMD stocks after this report, is it a good idea to create a position? I mean, you have to be bullish in the AI market, right? If you're bullish in the AI market, I think AMD has potential. I believe this is $1 trillion, has the opportunity, not the guarantee, to be $1 trillion player. But then if you are nice time stream your stream, Jimmy Naharo. Yes, I guess, Charles. I guess so. They would have beat with China, but it wouldn't have beat the massive beat, right? Because the market was expecting. I know this has been updated by now, but the market was expecting 9.7. If you take the $400 million from China, you would go down to, what did they have? 10.4, 10.3. It would be 9.9, right? 9.9. So the beat would have still been a beat, but it would have been a smaller beat, right? It would have been a smaller beat. So maybe that's why the market is not too excited about it, even though it was a beat. Yes, 27 customers, right? The AI ride is the end, guys. Take it. I don't, it's weird. I feel like anybody who's an AI doomer just doesn't use AI. Like, you really just don't use AI. I don't know if this guy loses it, but AI, if you're not using AI, you're already behind. It's honestly true. I feel like I can do the work of various analysts just because of AI if they're not using AI. It still is a triple B. Yes, 100% still a triple B. The call will be good. I agree. I think the call will be very strong. We have the call in about 20 minutes. If anybody sees, oh, let's look through the slide. I opened up the slide and I didn't look at it. So, AMD strategic pillars, right? Obviously CPU, GPU, FPGA, networking, system on chip. Nothing new here. Let's see, large growth opportunities, the data center. Yes, data center with all their server solutions, the client gaming, and the embedded market, right? The embedded market, you have the robotic space, you have aerospace and defense, you have the automotive market, you have research and development, you have healthcare, the list goes on, and all those can benefit dramatically thanks to AI. Now, quarter four revenue did have $10.3 billion in revenue, up 34%. They did about $400 million in MI308 GPUs. Now, honestly, I know this isn't an AMD day, but if they sent the 390 GPUs, the MI308, how much H20 did NVIDIA sell this past quarter? Right? What if they sold MI308s? NVIDIA had to sell some H20s. And that's not part of guidance, right? I'm sorry I had to bring it to NVIDIA. I know this is not NVIDIA day, but that's where my mind is going right now. Quarter four gross margins, improvements there. Let's see what else do we have. Operating income. All right. I mean, again, we talked a little bit about this. It's nice to see the charts. Non-GAAP diluted earnings per share. Um, Mainly up due to higher revenues, right? Obviously, higher revenues drives to higher margins, to higher earnings per share. Gross margins, 54%, up 3 percentage points on a year-over-year basis. Operating margins are also up. As you get more revenue, you tend to have a little bit higher pricing power as well. So margin improvements. Segments, data center operating income, up 51%. The margins is not as high anymore. I feel like they used to give us the operating income margin, but here, what's that? Like 33% margins, 1.7, 3.4, 5.1. Yeah, about 33% operating margins in data center, which is better than it was a quarter ago. So that's good. And it was better than it was a year ago, and better than a quarter ago. So you are seeing improvements in operating income. So operating margins are improving. Client gaming, you have about, what is that? That's closer to a 15% margin right now, but improvement. And the embedded market, another over 33% margins. So you're seeing growth, you're seeing strength there. Let's see. Now let's, all right, we looked at this. Now I just want to look at guidance again. Cash, $10 billion in cash. Total debt, about $3 billion. They're building massive inventory, right? That inventory, you know what this inventory is? This is the MI 450. I'm pretty sure they're just stockpiling for the MI 450. I'm curious to see. They should have talked about the MI 450, right? I mean, they should have said, look, everything. I know this is a question that everybody has. Is the MI 450 delay? They could have easily shared something in the guidance in these slides. Hey, MI 450 is on track, even though we did hear from CES. So 9.8 billion plus or minus 300, including $100 million of Instinct MI 308. But I think they're not sharing about the MI 325. All right. So we looked at the chart. Let's look at some questions. I might have missed some questions, but let's see what we have here. Why don't they just release the MI 450 now? I mean, I think it's just not ready, right? It's all production. Like the production is ready, but the setting up takes time. Hope no delays from Oracle. I don't think we're going to have. These people need it. Which will be the topic of the call? In forms of analysts, I mean, I'm hoping analysts ask about the MI 450, the MI 450, not the 350, the MI 450. Questions on that delay. The second thing I think we should hear about is a clarity on that China guidance included. Where is the MI 325? Why are you only talking about the MI 308 for China? Again, the stock is down after blowing out earnings. The sell the news pessimism continues. I was right to sell when it started cycling back down last week. Congratulations. Right? Being a trader definitely has its hoorays. Why such a drop if they seem to be beating estimates well? It could, even if they beat estimates, it might not be what the market was expecting, right? That's definitely. Do we have some super micro numbers just yet? Doesn't seem like it. Why is super micro? I just think it's a little weird. They haven't given us numbers just yet. That's weird. Do they just give it to you when the call happens? It's weird. Either really good weird or really bad weird. But why are they not sharing it beforehand so investors and people can look at it? Could it hit 240 tomorrow? I mean, it all depends on the call. If the call is well, if you make analysts happy, analysts can give price target hikes, and that alone can create short-term bullish trend on the stock. Let's see what else. Relax Sumin. I agree. Is 9 point, I think so. I mean, I think 9.8 billion is sandbagging if we're talking about their guidance. I mean, they tend to sandbag guidance. It's just, you're so uncertain with this market, you have to sandbag a little bit. I believe no China sales yet. I mean, they talked about it. They mentioned that for this quarter, it was $400 million. It was actually in the press release. Um, AMD stock value is exceeding its growth metrics. Is it? Well, did someone say? I think Lisa is the only reason you should be owning AMD. Lisa is the goat for AMD. Um, is someone spamming? Let me just hold on, guys. Let me use it from this channel. Some traders, I think that's the thing, right? It's all about expectations. If you're expecting NVIDIA type growth right now, I don't think we're happening until the MI 450. But if you're expecting sequential improvements and an opportunity to see strong growth with the MI 450, I think you're fine. Um, my apologies. I don't have any mods. I don't stream that often. Um, Lisa is exactly. I agree. I wouldn't. That's a little bit wild, right? I have a picture of Mama Sue next to my bed. That's wild bacon, but now you're making me hungry. Lisa saved AMD. It's if there wasn't no Lisa Sue, there wouldn't be no AMD. And I think I heard she's a strict ruler in AMD, and that's why people don't play around there, right? People are question, are people buying the dip right now? Or I'm not, but I'm actually a big shareholder of AMD. So it's not like this dip doesn't really even, I wouldn't consider it a dip. We were at like 200, 225. We were literally at 230 in January 16th. So what's that? 15 days ago. So for me, like it's not like bought this stock 15 days ago. I bought AMD like multiple years ago. So for me, I'm just giving my perspective, right? For me, I don't consider this a dip. So I wouldn't be buying on this just because of my position size. Now, if you tell me we're getting closer to the 200s, the 190s, that's different. But that's again, it's all about portfolio allocation. Um, did Supermicro post anything just yet? And we're gonna get the call in soon. No, Supermicro. It's weird that again. I find it weird. Supermicro hasn't given us a thing. It seems Supermicro is reporting on a 5, but they should have posted already. Because that would be wild. Imagine if I own 5% of a company and I could just call the CEO. I'll buy back. What's going on, Josher? If you have spam AI money, is that what that means? Is that what that means? Damn, I've never been this long. Been long since 2011. Now for Don, it must have sucked. Don, I definitely Don, it must have sucked because like that 2014, 2015 era was horrible. I think that's when all these fears of bankruptcy were happening, and stuff like that. So a real one. We have a real one here on chat holding this stock since 2011. Um, Now, obviously, if you bought just buying back the shares I sold at 250, now Daniels, that's a nice one, right? AMD will rebound pre-market with price target hikes. I think that is a potential, definitely a potential. Um, Thanks for talking about AMD. You got me to buy a decent amount months ago before. Nice, Daniel. Nice. A lot of Daniels. I'm happy. SMCI, what happened? I don't know. Oh, they're up 6.5%. Is my YOLO play gonna pay out? We just needed to hit 33 and my YOLO play plays out, and I would be happy. But let's see. Let's see. They reported. Did they give us numbers? Yes. All right. So they gave us second. Sorry. Yo, if any stock gives you this nonsense, you just yo, you can't. That is wild. Wild. That thing says, all right, let's see. X. Can you give me something? Freaking nonsense. Super Michael, if you see that, you shouldn't own that. Freaking um nonsense. All right. Did someone post Super Micro here? Is anybody? No one post Super Micro? No, that thing is broken. Only the I hit Shift F5. All right, Super Micro. Here we go. So revenue 12.7 billion versus 10.3. Adjusted earnings of gross margins of 6.4%. Those gross margins suck, but better than expected. It seems better than, I guess, better expected. Um, Full year net sales outlook increased to 40 billion, right? I think it was originally 40 billion, then they dropped it to $30 billion, then they grew it to 35. Now they're going back to 40 billion. All right, Super Micro, you just hit 33. We're good. Can 33. My YOLO play will play out. Boom, 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 boom. They have such a bad logo. Yeah, do they? I mean, I never, if, oh, but let's read. We got 7 minutes. Let's actually read Super Micro. Oh, we couldn't. I forgot we couldn't. There we go. All right. Let's zoom in. All right. Net sales of 12.7 versus 5 billion in quarter one and 5.7 in quarter two of same time last year. So massive growth. Gross margins suck, right? This is the crazy thing. Gross margin 6.4% versus 11, almost 12% a year ago. With our leading AI server storage technology foundation, strong customer engagement, and expanding global manufacturing footprint, we are scaling rapidly to support large AI enterprise deployment while continuing to strengthen our operation and financial execution. You can say that, but then when you see non-GAAP gross margins at 6.4%, I don't know if you can really say that, right? It's like, gotcha. But now for the next quarter, the company expects at least $12.3 billion for the third quarter of fiscal year 2026. The company with guidance, what kind of guidance did they give us? I don't know what kind of guidance that gives. I mean, margins. Someone can do the math there. And for the full year, they expect at least $40 billion. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, top overview is even if you're not in super micro, you're bullish AI. How can you not be? I mean, 40 billion in sales on AI servers just from this player, but it's Dell, HPE. What are all these going to do? And remember, the big hyperscalers don't buy from these players. They make their own. So if they're seeing this kind of demand, I don't know. How can you be an AI bear? You are the professor of AI. Ruthless, appreciate it. I saw you comment on, I was in Tanner's stream and I saw you comment and then you posted a comment on my recent video. Appreciate the support, Ruthless. But I'm definitely not a professor of AI. I'm just a researcher, I would guess. What are we saying yep to? Jose, what price are we talking about? About AMD right now? I wouldn't DCA into Supermicro, right? Into AMD, because of my big price, my big position, it would have to be below 200s, right? That's where I really wouldn't mind. Even the 215s, right? 215s, 210s. So Super Micro, all right. Hopefully, I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not a huge fan of Super Micro CEO. I do think he's also a oil snake oil. What's the phrase? No snake oil salesman. Whatever. I think Super Micro, no matter what partnership, if he ever goes into an event and he's welcome, he's like, yeah, buy Super Micro. He tries to sell you any type of event. This guy, I feel like this guy can go to a charity event, and during the charity event, he tries to sell you Super Micro servers. That's the type of person I think the CEO is. No matter what type of partnership, it's like, how are we doing it? Well, we're working together because buy Super Micro servers. So another that was one of the main reasons I wasn't a fan of this company. Also, not just the business, but I think CEOs do a lot. Can AMD push up during earnings? Yes, it can. All right, so we saw Super Micro. Let's look back to AMD. Should we just flip the screen and hope for the best? We're at 218? No, I think we're at 228. Are we at 218? Boom, 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 boom. No, we're at 228. Copying my quote, LOL, JK. What did we copy? Unless something really bad happens. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with what? I don't know. I'm going. Now let's pump it so I can get out. AMD back at 227. I mean, it seems to at least bounce up a little from it. All right. So we got the call in about 3 minutes. Maybe I should open up the thing so we can start listening to it. All right. You guys can't see this. This is top level information. I'm just getting into. Let me just log into their call. And once they start, I'll start sharing screen and we'll start looking at that. Right now, it's just music. The music sounds really weird, though. I don't want to put it because then we're going to get a copy strike. I mean, it's not like you guys are funding anything, you know? Not that you need to, but I can't get hit with the copy strike. I don't think. Why would you get? I agree. And at the moment, Nvidia has no competition, right? I think this is the way. I don't think Nvidia invests. I don't know. I guess for me and the Nvidia investors that I know, which are ones that hold some big position, they're not scared of AMD and they're not worried if AMD does well, right? They believe that Nvidia going to continue to lead, but AMD has the opportunity to grow. They both can be strong players. AMD is going to be a 1 trillion. In the future, I think there's opportunity, especially if they hit that 20 earnings per share per year, times that by a multiple of 30, you get 600, which is a price target of $1 trillion. Honestly, what kind of market is this? Record profit, stock price falls. It's the everyday market. Can you whistle it? The music? It sounds like fancy dinner music. I'm going to guess like a saxophone right now, like some light, fancy music. But no, I can't. Big time fan. What's going on, Mantis? Appreciate the support. AMD up $10. It's not up anything. 229. Can we do 230 though? If we get to 30s, people would be a little bit less sad, I think. Triple B raised. AMD is going to be a go. I think so. AMD is going to be good. What do you think of Marvell? I like it. Holy $10 range candle. I don't know. I'm not seeing that one, but if streets disappoint about AMD results, Nvidia is going to get dumped huge after earnings call. And why? You don't know what Nvidia is going to do, right? You don't know how well Nvidia's earnings are going to be. You also have GTC coming up in March, a few weeks after it. That excitement for GTC could just create an excitement for stock price. Yeah, we're going to the call. So they're just turning on and I'm about to share. I'm just getting the call for you guys. Sorry.
Matt Ramsey, VP
Let me know if it's
Financial
loud enough,
Strategy
or should I make
and
it
IR.
louder?
Thank you. You may begin.
Thank you, and welcome to AMD's fourth quarter and 2025 full year financial results conference call. By now, you should have had the opportunity to review a copy of our earnings press release and accompanying slides. If you have not had the opportunity to review these materials, they can be found on the investor relations page.
Yo, can I get a confirmation that you guys can hear the noise?
Today, we will refer primarily to non-GAAP financial measures on the call. The full non-GAAP to GAAP reconciliations are available in today's press release and in the slides posted on our website. Participants in today's conference call are Dr. Lisa Su, our Chair and CEO, and Jean Hu, our Executive Vice President, CFO, and Treasurer. This is a live call and will be replayed via webcast on our website. Before we begin, I would like to note that Mark Papermaster, Executive Vice President and CTO, will present at Morgan Stanley's TMT conference on Tuesday, March 3rd. Today's discussions contain forward-looking statements based on our current beliefs, assumptions, and expectations, speak only as of today, and as such involve risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from our current expectations. Please refer to the cautionary statement in our press release for more information on factors that could cause actual results to differ materially. With that, I will hand the call to Lisa.
Thank you, Matt, and good afternoon to all those listening today. 2025 was a defining year for AMD, with record revenue, net income, and free cash flow driven by broad-based demand for our high-performance computing and AI products. We ended the year with significant momentum, with every part of our business performing very well. We saw demand accelerate across the data center, PC, gaming, and embedded markets, launched the broadest set of leadership products in our history, gained significant server and PC processor share, and rapidly scaled our data center AI business as Instinct and ROCm adoption increased with cloud, enterprise, and AI customers. Looking at our fourth quarter revenue grew 34% year-over-year to $10.3 billion, led by record EPYC, Ryzen, and Instinct processor sales. Net income increased 42% to a record $2.5 billion, and free cash flow nearly doubled year-over-year to a record $2.1 billion. For the full year, revenue grew 34% to $34.6 billion, and we added more than $7.6 billion of data center segment and client revenue. Turning to our fourth quarter segment results, data center segment revenue increased 39% year-over-year to a record $5.4 billion, led by accelerating Instinct MI350 series GPU deployments and server share gains. In server, adoption of 5th-gen EPYC Turin CPUs accelerated in the quarter, accounting for more than half of the total server revenue. 4th-gen EPYC sales were also robust as our prior generation CPUs continued to deliver superior performance and TCO compared to competitive offerings across a wide range of workloads. As a result, we had record server CPU sales to both cloud and enterprise customers in the quarter and exited the year with record share. In cloud, hyperscaler demand was very strong as North American customers expanded deployments. EPYC-powered public cloud offerings grew significantly in the quarter, with AWS, Google, and others launching more than 230 new AMD instances. Hyperscalers launched more than 500 AMD-based instances in 2025, increasing the number of EPYC cloud instances more than 50% year-over-year to nearly 1,600. In the enterprise, we are seeing a meaningful shift in EPYC adoption driven by our leadership performance, expanded platform availability, broad software enablement, and increased go-to-market programs. The leading server providers now offer more than 3,000 solutions powered by 4th and 5th-gen EPYC CPUs that are optimized for all major enterprise workloads. As a result, the number of large businesses deploying EPYC on-prem more than doubled in 2025, and we exited the year with record server sell-through. Looking ahead, server CPU demand remains very strong. Hyperscalers are expanding their infrastructure to meet growing demand for cloud services and AI, while enterprises are modernizing their data centers to ensure they have the right compute required to enable new AI workflows. Against this backdrop, EPYC has become the processor of choice for the modern data center, delivering leadership performance, efficiency, and TCO. Our next-generation Venice CPU extends our leadership across each of these metrics. Customer pull for Venice is very high, with engagements underway to support large-scale cloud deployments and broad OEM platform availability when Venice launches later this year. Turning to our data center AI business, we delivered record Instinct GPU revenue in the fourth quarter, led by the ramp of MI350 series shipments. We also had some revenue from MI308 sales to customers in China. Instinct adoption broadened in the quarter. Today, 8 of the top 10 AI companies use Instinct to power production workloads across a growing range of use cases. With the MI350 series, we are entering the next phase of Instinct adoption, expanding our footprint with existing partners and adding new customers. In the fourth quarter, hyperscalers expanded MI350 series availability. Leading AI companies scaled their deployments to support additional workloads, and multiple neocloud providers launched MI350 series offerings that deliver on-demand access to Instinct infrastructure in the cloud. Turning to our AI software stack, we expanded the ROCm ecosystem in the fourth quarter, enabling customers to deploy Instinct faster and with higher performance across a broader range of workloads. Millions of large language and multimodal models run out of the box on AMD, with the leading models launching with day zero support for Instinct GPUs. This capability highlights our rapidly expanding open source community enablement, including new upstream integration of AMD GPUs in VLLM, one of the most widely used inference engines. To drive Instinct adoption with industry-specific use cases, we're also adding support for domain-specific models in key verticals. As one example, in healthcare, we added ROCm support for the leading medical imaging framework to enable developers to train and deploy highly performant deep learning models on Instinct GPUs. For large businesses, we introduced our Enterprise AI Suite, a full-stack software platform with enterprise-grade tools, inference microservices, and solutions blueprints designed to simplify and accelerate production deployments at scale. We also announced a strategic partnership with Tata Consultancy Services to co-develop industry-specific AI solutions and help customers deploy AI across their operations. Looking ahead, customer engagements for our next-gen MI400 series and Helios platform continue expanding. In addition to our multi-generation partnership with OpenAI to deploy 6 gigawatts of Instinct GPUs, we are in active discussions with other customers on at-scale multi-year deployments, starting with Helios and MI450 later this year. With the MI400 series, we are also expanding our portfolio to address the full range of cloud, HPC, and enterprise AI workloads. This includes MI455X and Helios for AI superclusters, MI430X for HPC and sovereign AI, and MI440X servers for enterprise customers requiring leadership training and inference performance in a compact 8-GPU solution that integrates easily into existing infrastructure. Multiple OEMs publicly announced plans to launch Helios systems in 2026, with deep engineering engagement underway to support smooth production ramps. In December, HPE announced that they will offer Helios racks with purpose-built HPE Juniper Ethernet switches and optimized software for high-bandwidth scale-up networking. And in January, Lenovo announced plans to offer Helios racks. MI430X adoption also grew in the quarter, with new exascale-class supercomputers announced by Gency in France and HLRS in Germany. Looking further ahead, development of our next-generation MI500 series is well underway. MI500 is powered by our CDNA 6 architecture, built on advanced 2-nanometer process technology, and features high-speed HBM4E memory. We are on track to launch MI500 in 2027 and expect MI500 to deliver another major leap in AI performance to power the next wave of large-scale multimodal models. In summary, our AI business is accelerating, with the launch of MI400 series and Helios representing a major inflection point for the business as we deliver leadership performance and TCO at the chip, compute tray, and rack level. Based on the strength of our EPYC and Instinct roadmaps, we are well positioned to grow data center segment revenue by more than 60% annually over the next 3 to 5 years and scale our AI business to tens of billions in annual revenue in 2027. Turning to client and gaming, segment revenue increased 37% year over year to $3.9 billion. In client, our PC processor business performed exceptionally well. Revenue increased 34% year over year to a record $3.1 billion, driven by increased demand for multiple generations of Ryzen desktop and mobile CPUs. Desktop CPU sales set a record for the 4th consecutive quarter. Ryzen CPUs topped the bestseller lists at major global retailers and e-tailers throughout the holiday period, with strong demand across all price points in every region, driving record desktop channel sellout. In mobile, strong demand for AMD-powered notebooks drove record Ryzen PC sell-through in the quarter. That momentum extended into commercial PCs, where Ryzen adoption accelerated as we established a new long-term growth engine for our client business. Sell-through of Ryzen CPUs for commercial notebooks and desktops grew by more than 40% year-over-year in the fourth quarter, and we closed large wins with major telecom, financial services, aerospace, automotive, energy, and technology customers. At CES, we expanded our Ryzen portfolio with CPUs that further extend our performance leadership. Our new Ryzen AI 400 mobile processors deliver significantly faster content creation and multitasking performance than the competition. Notebooks powered by Ryzen AI 400 are already available, with the broadest lineup of AMD-based consumer and commercial AI PCs set to launch throughout the year. We also introduced our Ryzen AI Halo platform, the world's smallest AI development system, featuring our highest-end Ryzen AI Max processor with 128 gigabytes of unified memory that can run models with up to 200 billion parameters locally. In gaming, revenue increased 50% year-over-year to $843 million. Semi-custom sales increased year-over-year and declined sequentially as expected. For 2026, we expect semi-custom SoC annual revenue to decline by a significant double-digit percentage as we enter the 7th year of what has been a very strong console cycle. From a product standpoint, Valve is on track to begin shipping its AMD-powered Steam machine early this year, and development of Microsoft's next-gen Xbox featuring an AMD semi-custom SoC is progressing well to support a launch in 2027. Gaming GPU revenue also increased year-over-year, with higher channel sellout driven by demand throughout the holiday sales period for our latest generation Radeon RX 9000 series GPUs. We also launched FSR4 Redstone in the quarter, our most advanced AI-powered upscaling technology, delivering higher image quality and smoother frame rates for gamers. Turning to our embedded segment, revenue increased 3% year-over-year to $950 million, led by strength with test and measurement and aerospace customers, and growing adoption of our embedded x86 CPUs. Channel sell-through accelerated in the quarter as end customer demand improved across several end markets, led by test, measurement, and emulation. Design win momentum remains one of the clearest indicators of long-term growth for our embedded business, and we delivered another record year. We closed $17 billion in design wins in 2025, up nearly 20% year-over-year, as we've now won more than $50 billion of embedded designs since acquiring Xilinx. We also strengthened our embedded portfolio in the quarter. We began production of our Versal AI Edge Gen 2 SoCs for low-latency inference workloads and started shipping our highest-end Spartan UltraScale Plus devices for cost-optimized application. We also launched new embedded CPUs, including our EPYC 2005 series for network security and industrial edge applications, Ryzen P100 series for in-vehicle infotainment and industrial systems, and Ryzen X100 series for physical AI and autonomous platforms. In summary, 2025 was an excellent year for AMD, marking the start of a new growth trajectory for the company. We are entering a multi-year demand supercycle for high performance and AI computing that is creating significant growth opportunities across each of our businesses. AMD is well positioned to capture that growth with highly differentiated products, a proven execution engine, deep customer partnerships, and significant operational scale. And as AI reshapes the compute landscape, we have the breadth of solutions and partnerships required for end-to-end leadership. From Helios in the cloud for at-scale training and inference, to an expanded Instinct portfolio for sovereign supercomputing and enterprise AI deployment. At the same time, demand for EPYC CPUs is surging as agentic and emerging AI workloads require high-performance CPUs to power head nodes and run parallel tasks alongside GPUs. And at the edge and in PCs, where AI adoption is just beginning, our industry-leading Ryzen and embedded processors are powering real-time on-device AI. As a result, we expect significant top-line and bottom-line growth in 2026, led by increased adoption of EPYC and Instinct, continued client share gains, and a return to growth in our embedded segment. Looking further ahead, we see a clear path to achieve the ambitious targets we laid out at our Financial Analyst Day last November, including growing revenue at greater than 35% CAGR over the next 3 to 5 years, significantly expanding operating margins, and generating annual EPS of more than $20 in the strategic timeframe, driven by growth in all of our segments and the rapid scaling of our data center AI business. Now I'll turn the call over to Jean to provide additional color on our fourth quarter results and full year results. Jean?
Thank you, Lisa, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll start with a review for our financial results and then provide our current outlook for the first quarter of fiscal 2026. AMD executed very well in 2025, delivering record revenue of $34.6 billion, up 34% year-over-year, driven by 32% growth in our data center segment and 51% growth in our client and gaming segment. Gross margin was 52%, and we delivered record earnings per share of $4.17, up 26% year-over-year, while continuing to invest aggressively in AI and the data center to support our long-term growth. For the fourth quarter of 2025, revenue was a record $10.3 billion, growing 34% year-over-year, driven by strong growth in the data center and the client and gaming segments, including approximately $390 million in revenue from MI308 sales to China, which was not included in our fourth quarter guidance. Revenue was up 11% sequentially, primarily driven by continued strong growth in data center from both server and data center AI business, as well as a return to year-over-year growth in the embedded segment. Gross margin was 57%, up 290 basis points year-over-year. We benefited from the release of $360 million in previously written down MI308 inventory reserves. Excluding the inventory reserve release and the MI308 revenue from China, gross margin would have been approximately 55%, up 80 basis points year-over-year, driven by favorable product mix. Operating expenses were $3 billion, an increase of 42% year-over-year as we continue to invest in R&D go-to-market activities to support our AI roadmap and long-term growth opportunities, as well as higher employee performance-based incentives. Operating income was a record $2.9 billion, representing a 28% operating margin. Tax, interest, and other resulting in a net expense of approximately $335 million. For the fourth quarter, diluted earnings per share was a record $1.53, an increase of 40% year-over-year, reflecting strong execution and operating leverage in our business model. Now turning to our reportable segment, starting with the data center segment, revenue was a record $5.4 billion, up 39% year-over-year and 24% sequentially, driven by strong demand for EPYC processors and the continued ramp of MI350 products. Data center segment operating income was $1.8 billion, or 33% of revenue, compared to $1.2 billion, or 30% a year ago, reflecting higher revenue and the inventory reserve release, partially offset by continued investment to support our AI hardware and software roadmaps. Client and gaming segment revenue was $3.9 billion, up 37% year-over-year, driven primarily by strong demand for our leadership AMD Ryzen processors. On a sequential basis, revenue was down 3% due to lower semi-customer revenue. The client business revenue was a record $3.1 billion, up 34% year-over-year and 13% sequentially, led by strong demand from both the channel and the PC OEMs and the continued market share gain. The gaming business revenue was $843 million, up 50% year-over-year, primarily driven by higher semi-customer revenue and strong demand for AMD Radeon GPUs. Sequentially, gaming revenue was down 35% due to lower semi-customer sales. Client gaming segment operating income was $725 million, or 18% of revenue, compared to $496 million, or 17% a year ago. Embedded segment revenue was $950 million, up 3% year-over-year and 11% sequentially as demand strengthened across several end markets. Embedded segment operating income was $357 million, or 38% of revenue, compared to $362 million, or 39% a year ago. Before I review the balance sheet and the cash flow, as a reminder, we closed the sale of the ZT System manufacturing business to Sanmina in late October. The fourth quarter financial results of the ZT manufacturing business are reported separately in our financial statement as discontinued operations and are excluded from our non-GAAP financials. Turning to the balance sheet and the cash flow. During the quarter, we generated a record $2.3 billion in cash from continuing operations and a record of $2.1 billion in free cash flow. Inventory increased sequentially by approximately $607 million to $7.9 billion to support strong data center demand. At the end of the quarter, cash equivalents, and short-term investment were $10.6 billion. For the year, we repurchased 12.4 million shares and returned $1.3 billion to shareholders. We ended the year with $9.4 billion authorization remaining and our share repurchase program. Now turning to our first quarter 2026 outlook. We expect revenue to be approximately $9.8 billion, ±$300 million, including approximately $100 million of MI308 sales to China. At the middle point of our guidance, revenue is expected to be up 32% year-over-year, driven by strong growth in our data center and the client and the gaming segments, and a modest growth in our embedded segment. Sequentially, we expect revenue to be down approximately 5%, driven by seasonal decline in our client gaming and embedded segment, partially offset by growth in our data center segment. In addition, we expect fourth quarter non-GAAP gross margin to be approximately 55%, non-GAAP operating expense to be approximately $3.05 billion, non-GAAP other net income to be approximately $35 million, non-GAAP effective tax rate to be 13%, and diluted share count is expected to be approximately 1.65 billion shares. In closing, 2025 was an outstanding year for AMD, reflecting disciplined execution across the business to deliver strong revenue growth, increase profitability, and cash generation while investing aggressively in AI and innovation to support our long-term growth strategy. Looking ahead, we are very well positioned for continued strong top-line revenue growth and earnings expansion in 2026, with a focus on driving data center AI growth, operating leverage, and delivering long-term value to shareholders. With that, I'll turn it back to Matt for the Q&A session.
Yes, thank you very much, Jean. Operator, please go ahead and open the Q&A session. Thank you.
Great. I got some notes there. We're going to talk about them after the Q&A
We'll now be
session,
conducting the
but
question and
let's go
answer
to
session.
questions.
If you would like to ask a question, please press star one on your telephone keypad. A confirmation tone will indicate that your line is in the queue. You may press star two to remove yourself from the queue. For participants using speaker equipment, it may be necessary to pick up your handset before pressing the star keys. One moment, please, while we poll for questions. And the first question comes from the line of Aaron Rakers with Wells Fargo. Please proceed with your question.
Yeah, thanks for taking the question. Lisa, at your analyst day back in November, you seemed to kind of endorse, the high 20 billion AI revenue expectation that was out there on the street for 2027. I know today you're reaffirming the path to strong double-digit growth. So I guess my question is, can you talk a little bit about what you've seen as far as customer engagements, how those might have expanded? I think you've alluded to in the past multiple multi-gigawatt opportunities. Just just double click on what you've seen for the MI455 and Helios platform from a demand shaping perspective as we look into the back half of the year.
Yeah, sure, Aaron. Thanks for the question. So first of all, I think the MI450 series development is going extremely well. So we're very happy with the progress that we have. We're right on track for a second half launch and beginning of production. And as it relates to sort of the shape of the ramp and the customer engagements, I would say the customer engagements continue to proceed very well. We have obviously a very strong relationship with OpenAI, and we're planning that ramp starting in the second half of the year, going into 2027. That is on track. We're also working closely with a number of other customers who are very interested in ramping MI450 quickly, just given the strength of the product. And we see that across both inference and training. And that is the opportunity that we see in front of us. So we feel very good about sort of the data center growth overall for us in 2026, and then certainly going into 2027. We've talked about tens of billions of dollars of data center AI revenue, and we feel very good about that.
Thank you. The next question comes from the line of Tim Arcuri with UBS. Please proceed with your question.
Thanks a lot. Jean, I'm wondering if you can maybe give us a little bit of detail under the hood for the March guidance. I know you basically told us that you told us about what embedded is going to be up a bit year over year. Client sounds like it's down seasonally, which I take to be maybe down 10. So can you give us a sense maybe of the other pieces? And then also, can you give us a sense of how data center GPU is going to ramp through the year? I know it's back half loaded year, but I think people are thinking at least somewhere in the $14 billion range this year. That's what investors are thinking. I'm not asking you to endorse that, but if you can give us a little flavor for sort of how the ramp will look for the year, that'd be great. Thanks.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for your question. We're guiding one quarter at a time, but I can give you some color about our Q1 guide. First, it's right. Sequentially, we guided a decline around 5%, but data center is actually going to be up. And when you think about it, it's right. Our CPU business, seasonal, actually in a regular seasonal pattern, it's going to be down high single digit. And in our current guide, we actually guide CPU revenue up sequentially very nicely. Also, with the data center GPU side, we also feel really good about GPU revenue, including China, will be also up. So very nice guide for the data center overall. On the client side, we do see seasonality sequentially decline. Embedded and gaming, they are also have a seasonal decline.
And maybe, Tim, if I just give you a little bit on the full year commentary. I think the important thing as we look at the full year, we're very bullish on the year. We're not, if you look at the key themes, we're seeing very strong growth in the data center, and that's across, two growth vectors. We see, server CPU growth actually very strong. I mean, we've talked about the fact that, CPUs are very important as AI continues to ramp, and we've seen the CPU order book continue to strengthen as we go through the last few quarters and especially over the last 60 days. So we see that as a strong growth driver for us. As Jean said, we see server CPU growing from Q4 into Q1 in what normally is seasonally down, and that continues throughout the year. And then on the data center AI side, it's a very important year for us. It's really an inflection point. MI355 has done well, and we were pleased with the performance in Q4, and we continue to ramp that in the first half of the year. But as we get into the second half of the year, the MI450 is really a inflection point for us. So that revenue will start in the third quarter, but it will ramp significant volume in the fourth quarter as we get into 2027. So that gives you a little bit of sort of what the data center ramp looks like throughout the year.
Thank you, Lisa.
And the next question comes from the line of Vivek Arya with Bank of America. Please proceed.
Thank you. First, just a clarification on what you're assuming for your China MI308 sales beyond Q1. And then, Lisa, specific to 2026, can your data center revenues grow at your target 60% plus growth rate? I realize that that's a multi-year target, but do you think that there are enough drivers, whether it's on the server CPU side or GPU side, for you to grow at that target pace even in 2026? Thank you.
Yeah, sure, Vivek. So let me talk a little bit about China first, because that's, I think, important for us to make sure that's clear. Look, we were pleased to have some MI308 sales in the fourth quarter. They were actually, a license that was approved through, work with the administration, and those orders were actually from very early in 2025. And so we saw some revenue in Q4, and we're forecasting for about $100 million of revenue in Q1. We are not forecasting any additional revenue from China, just because it's a very dynamic situation. So given that it's a dynamic situation, we're still waiting for, we've submitted licenses for the MI325, and we're continuing to work with customers and understanding, sort of their customer demand. We thought it prudent not to forecast any additional revenue other than the $100 million that we called out in the Q1 guide. Now, as it relates to overall data center, as I mentioned in the question to Tim, we're very bullish about data center. I think the combination of drivers that we have across our CPU franchise, the EPYC product line, both Turin and Genoa, continue to ramp well. And in the second half of the year, we will be launching Venice, which we believe actually extends our leadership, and the MI450 ramp, which is also very significant in the second half of 2026. We're not obviously guiding specifically by segment, but the long-term target of, let's call it, greater than 60% is certainly possible in 2026.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. And as a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please press star one. We ask that you limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Thank you. The next question comes from the line of CJ Muse with Cantor. Please proceed.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for taking the question. I'm curious on the server CPU side of the house, and given the dramatic tightness, curious, your ability to source incremental capacity from TSMC and elsewhere, and I guess how long will it take for that to see wafers out, and how should we think about the implications for kind of the growth trajectory throughout all of calendar 26? And I guess as part of that, if you could speak to how we should be thinking about inflection in pricing as well, that would be very helpful.
Sure, CJ. So a couple of points about the server CPU market. First of all, we think the overall server CPU TAM is going to grow, let's call it strong double digits in 2026, just given as we said, the relationship between CPU demand and overall AI ramp. So I think that's a positive. Relative to our ability to support that, we've been seeing this trend for the last couple of quarters. So we have increased our supply capacity capability for server CPUs, and that's one of the reasons we're able to increase our Q1 guide as it relates to the server business, and we see the ability to continue to grow that throughout the year. There's no question that the demand continues to be strong, and so we're working with our supply chain partners to increase supply as well. But from what we see today, I think the overall server situation is strong, and we are increasing supply to address that.
Hey, CJ, do you have a follow-up question?
I do. Maybe for Jean, if you could kind of touch on gross margins through the year, and as you balance kind of strengthening server CPU with perhaps greater GPU accelerating in the second half, is there kind of a framework that we should be working off of? Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for the question. We are very pleased with our gross margin Q4 performance and the Q1 guide at 55%, which actually is 130 basis point up year-over-year, while we continue to ramp our MI355 year-over-year very significantly. I think we are benefiting from a very favorable product mix across all our business. If you think about in data center, we're ramping our new generation product, Turin, and the MI355, which helps the gross margin. In client, we continue to move up the stack and also gaining momentum in our commercial business. Our client business gross margin has been improving nicely. In addition, certainly we see the recovery of our embedded business, which is also margin accretive. So all those tailwinds we are seeing, we continue to see in next few quarters. And when MI450 ramp, of course, in Q4, our gross margin will be driven largely by mix, and I think we'll give you more color when we get there. But overall, we feel really good about our gross margin progression this year.
Thank you. The next question comes from the line of Joe Moore with Morgan Stanley. Please proceed.
Great, thank you. On the MI455 ramp, will 100% of the business be racks? Will there be kind of an 8-way server business around that architecture? And then is the revenue recognition when you ship to the rack vendor, or is there something to understand about that? Thank you.
Yes, Joe. So we do have multiple variants of the MI450 series, including an 8-way GPU form factor. But for 2026, I would say the vast majority of it is going to be rack scale solutions. And yes, we will take revenue when we ship to the rack builder.
Okay, great. And then can you talk to any risks that you may have in terms of, once you get silicon out, turning that into racks, any potential issues as you ramp that? I know your competitor had some last year, and you said you learned from that. Is there anything you've done with kind of pre-building racks to sort of ensure you won't have those issues? Just any risks that we need to understand around that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Joe, the main thing is the development's going really well. We're right on track with the MI450 series as well as the Helios rack development. We've done a lot of testing already, both at the rack scale level as well as at the silicon level. So far, so good. We are getting let's call it a lot of input from our customers on things to test so that we can do a lot of testing in parallel. And our expectation is that we will be on track for our second half launch.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Stacy Rasgon with Research. Please proceed.
Hi guys, thanks for taking my questions. First one, Lisa, I just wanted to ask about OpEx. Like every quarter, you guys are guiding it up, and then it's coming in even higher, and then you're guiding it up again. And I understand, given the growth trajectory, that you need to invest. But how should we think about the ramp of that OpEx and that spending number, especially as the GPU revenue starts to inflect? Do we get leverage on that, or should we be expecting the OpEx to be growing even more materially as the AI revenue starts to ramp?
Yeah, sure, Stacy. Thanks for the question. Look, I think in terms of OpEx, we're at a point where we have very high conviction in the roadmap that we have. And so in 2025, as the revenue increased, we did lean in on OpEx, and I think it was for all the right reasons. As we get into 2026 and as we see some of the significant growth that we're expecting, we should absolutely see leverage. And the way to think about it is, we've always said in our long-term model that OpEx should grow slower than revenue, and we would expect that in 2026 as well, especially as we get into the second half of the year and we see inflection in the revenue. But at this point, I think if you look at our free cash flow generation and the overall revenue growth, I think the investment in OpEx is absolutely the right thing to do.
Thank you. For my follow-up, I actually have two sort of one-line answers I'm looking for. Just first, the $100 million in China revenue in Q1, does that also drop through at zero cost basis like we had in Q4, and is that a margin headwind? And number two, I know you don't give us the AI number, but could you just give us the annual, like, 2025 Instinct number now that we're through the year? Like, how big was it?
So Stacy, let me answer your first question on the $100 million revenue in Q1. Actually, the inventory reserve reversed in Q4, which was $360 million. Not only it's associated with the Q4 revenue, China revenue, but also covers the $100 million revenue we expect to ship in Q1 to China with our MI308. So the Q1 gross margin guide is a very clean guide.
And Stacy, for your second question, as you know, we don't guide at the business level, but to help you with your models, I think you can, if you look at the Q4 data center AI number, even if you were to back out the China number, which was, let's call it not a recurring number, you would still see growth. You'll see growth from Q3 to Q4. So that should help you a little bit with your modeling.
Thank you. And the next question comes from the line of Joshua Buchalter with TD Cowen. Please proceed.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my question. I wanted to ask about clients. So the segment beat, pretty handily in the fourth quarter. And recognize you guys have been gaining share with Ryzen. But I think given what we've been seeing in the memory market, there's a lot of concern about inflationary costs and the potential for pull-ins. Were there any changes in your order patterns during the quarter, and maybe bigger picture, how are you thinking about client growth and the health of that market into 2026?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Josh. The client market has performed extremely well, for us throughout 2025. Very strong growth for us, both in terms of ASP mixing up the stack as well as just unit growth. Going into 2026, we are certainly watching the development of the business. I think the PC market is an important market. Based on everything that we see today, we're probably seeing the PC TAM down a bit, just given some of the inflationary pressures of the commodities pricing, including memory. The way we are modeling the year is, let's call it second half, a bit sub-seasonal to first half, just given everything that we see. Even in that environment with the PC market down, we believe we can grow the our PC business. And our focus areas are enterprise. That's a place where we're making very nice progress in 2025, and we expect that into 2026, and just continuing to grow, sort of at the premium, higher end of the market.
Thank you for the color there. Then I wanted to ask about the Instinct family. So we've seen your big GPU competitor make a deal with an SRAM-based spatial architecture provider, and then OpenAI has reportedly been linked to one as well. Could you speak to the competitive implications of that? You've done well in inferencing, I think, partly because of your leadership in HBM content. So I was wondering if you could maybe address the pull seemingly motivated by lower latency inference, and how Instinct is positioned to service this if you're indeed seeing it as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, Josh, it's really, I think, the evolution that you might expect as the AI market matures. What we're seeing is as inference ramps, really the tokens per dollar, or the efficiency of the inference stack, becomes more and more important. As you know, with our chiplet architecture, we have a lot of ability to optimize across inference, training, and even across sort of the different stages of inference as well. So I think I view this as very much as you go into the future, you'll see more workload optimized products, and you can do that with GPUs as well as with other more ASIC-like architectures. I think we have the full compute stack to do all of those things, and from that standpoint, we're going to continue to lean into inference, as we view that as a significant opportunity for us, in addition to ramping our training capabilities.
Thank you. And the next question comes from the line of Ben Reitzes with Melius Research. Please proceed.
Yeah, hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Hey, Lisa, I wanted to ask you about OpenAI. I'm sure a lot of the volatility out there is not lost on you. Is everything on track for the second half for starting the 6 gigawatts and the 3.5-year timeline, as far as you know? And is there any other color that you just like to give on that relationship? And then I have a follow-up. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Ben, what I would say is, we're very much working in partnership with OpenAI as well as our CSP partners to deliver on MI450 series and deliver on the ramp. The ramp is on schedule to start in the second half of the year. MI450 is doing great. Helios is doing well. We are in, let's call it deep co-development across all of those parties. And, as we look forward, I think we are optimistic about the MI450 ramp for OpenAI. But I also want to, remind everyone that we have a broad set of customers that are, very excited about MI450 series. And so in addition to the work that we're doing with OpenAI, there are a number of customers that we're working to ramp in that time frame as well.
All right, I appreciate that. And I wanted to shift to the server CPU and just talk about x86 versus ARM. There's some view out there that x86 has particular edge in agents, big picture. Do you agree with that? And what are you seeing from customers? And in particular, obviously your big competitor is going to be selling an ARM CPU separately now in the second half. So if there's just anything on that competitive dynamic versus ARM and what NVIDIA is doing and your views on that, that'd be great to hear. Thanks.
Yeah, Ben, what I would say about the CPU market is there is a great need for high-performance CPUs right now, and that goes towards agentic workloads where, when you have these AI processes or AI agents that are spinning off a lot of work in an enterprise, they're actually going to a lot of traditional CPU tasks, and the vast majority of them are on x86 today. I think the beauty of EPYC is that we've optimized, we've done workload optimization. So, we have the best cloud processor out there. We have the best enterprise processor. We also have, some lower cost variants for storage and other elements. And I think all of that comes into play as we think about the entirety of the AI infrastructure that needs to be put in place. I think the CPUs are going to continue to be, as important as a piece of the AI infrastructure ramp, and that's one of the things that we mentioned at our Analyst Day back in November. Really this multi-year CPU cycle, and we continue to see that. I think we've optimized EPYC to satisfy all of those workloads, and we're going to continue to work with our customers to expand our EPYC footprint.
And the next question comes from the line of Tom O'Malley with Barclays. Please proceed.
Hey, Lisa, how are you? I just wanted to ask, you mentioned on memory earlier as a sticking point in terms of inflationary cost. Different customers do this in different ways, different suppliers do this in different ways, but can you maybe talk about your procurement of memory, when that takes place, particularly on the HBM side? Is that something that gets done a year in advance, 6 months in advance? Different accelerator guys have talked about different timelines. Would be curious to kind of hear when you do the procurement.
Yeah, I mean, given the lead times for things like, HBM and wafers and these parts of the supply chain, I mean, we're working closely with our suppliers over a multi-year timeframe in terms of what we see in demand, how we ramp, how we ensure that our development is very closely tied together. So I feel very good about our supply chain capabilities. We have been planning for this ramp. So independent of the current market conditions, we've been planning for a significant ramp in our both CPU as well as our GPU business over the past couple of years. And so from that standpoint, I think we're well positioned to grow substantially in 2026. And now we're also doing multi-year agreements that extend beyond that, given the tightness of the supply chain.
Thanks. And just as a follow-up, you've seen a variety of different things in the industry in terms of system accelerators, so KV cache offload, more discrete ASIC style compute, CPX. If you look at what your competitors are doing and you look at your first generation of system architecture coming out, maybe spend some time on, do you see yourself following in the footsteps of some of these different type of architectural changes? Do you think that you'll go in a different direction? Anything just on the evolution of your system-based architecture and then the adjoining products and or silicon within? Thank you.
I think, Tom, what we have is the ability with a very flexible architecture, with our chiplet architecture, and then we also have a flexible platform architecture that allows us, to really have, different system solutions for the different requirements. I think we're very cognizant that there will be different solutions. So there's no, I've often said there's no one size fits all, and I'll say that again, there's no one size fits all. But that being the case, it's clear that the rack scale architecture is very, very good for the highest end applications when you're talking about inference, distributed inference, and training. But we also see a opportunity with enterprise AI to use some of these other form factors, and so we're investing across that spectrum.
And the next question comes from the line of Ross Seymour with Deutsche Bank. Please proceed.
Hi, thanks for letting me ask a couple questions. I guess my first question is back on the gross margin side of things. As you go from the MI300 to the 400 to the 500 eventually, do you see any changes in the gross margin throughout that period? In the past, you've talked about optimizing dollars more so than percentages, but just on the percentage side, does it go up, down, or is there volatility as you go from one to the next for any reason? Just wondered on the trajectory there.
Ross, thank you for the question. At a very high level, each generation, we actually provide much more capabilities, more memory, help our customer more. So in general, the gross margin should progress each generation when you offer more capabilities to your customers. But typically, when you first ramp, at the beginning of ramp of a generation, it tends to be lower. When you get to the scale, get to the yield improvement, the testing improvement, and also overall performance improvement, that you will see gross margin improving within each generation. So it's a kind of a dynamic gross margin, but in the longer term, you should expect each generation should have a higher gross margin.
Thanks for that, Jean. And then one on a small segment of your business, but it seems quite volatile, and you talked a little bit about further off than you usually do, is the gaming side of things. What is the magnitude down you're talking about this year? Because in 2025, you thought it was going to be flat, and it ended up growing 50%, which was a nice positive surprise. But now that you're talking about this year being down, but then the next gen Xbox ramping in 2027, I just hope to get some color on what you see as kind of the annual trajectory there.
Lisa can add more. So 2026, actually, it's the 7th year of a current product cycle. Typically, when you're at this stage of the cycle, revenue tend to come down. We do expect the revenue on the semi-customer revenue side to come down significant double digit for 2026, as Lisa mentioned in her prepared remarks. For the next generation?
I think we'll certainly talk about that going forward, but as we ramp the new generation, you would expect a reversal of that.
Operator, I think we have time for one more caller on the call, please. Thank you.
And our final question comes from the line of Jim Schneider with Goldman Sachs. Please proceed.
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my question. Relative to the ramp of your rack-level systems, would you expect any kind of bottleneck in terms of supply constraints in terms of the ramp as you ramp the second half of the year to potentially impact or limit the revenue growth? In other words, maybe talk about whether you expect supply to really kind of mute the growth in Q4 sequentially Q3 relative to Q4.
Yeah, Jim, we are planning this at the every component level. So I think relative to our data center AI ramp, I do not believe that we will be supply limited in terms of the ramp that we put in place. I think we have an aggressive ramp. I think it's a very doable ramp. And as we think about the size and scale of AMD, clearly our priority is ensuring that the data center ramps go very well, and that's both on the data center AI, the GPU side, as well as on the CPU side.
Thank you. And then maybe as a follow-up to the earlier question on OpEx, could you maybe address what are some of the largest investment areas you made in 2025, and then what are the largest incremental OpEx investment areas for 2026? Thank you.
Jim. On the 2025 investment, the priority and the investment, largest investment is in data center AI. Our hardware roadmap, we accelerated that roadmap. We expand our software capabilities. We also acquired ZT Systems, which add significant system-level solutions and the capabilities. Those are the primary investment in 2025. We also invest heavily in go-to-market to really expand our go-to-market capabilities to support the revenue growth and also expand our commercial business and enterprise business for our CPU franchise. In 2026, you should expect us to continue to invest aggressively. But as Lisa mentioned earlier, we do expect revenue to expand faster than operating expense increase to drive the earnings per share expansion.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for participating on the call. Operator, I think we can go ahead and close the call now. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the question and answer session, and that also concludes today's teleconference. You may disconnect your lines at this time and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. What's going on, Neil? What's going on there? Let me just close this out, and then we can talk a little bit.
On, he says. What a day. What a day in the stock market. Why do we even do this? Why do we?
Neil, I think I need to put you in some type of watch today. You are coming from, unfortunately, a bad morning, and now it seems a little more pain today. Let me just quickly share screen real quick, just so we can look at stocks. I know people, we have some little degenerate gamblers here that like to look at every minute of the chart.
I mean, I missed the whole start of your stream, but based on what I'm seeing is we beat across the board. Of course, the China effect did help make the beat a little bit bigger. But other than that, what did I miss? Did Jean say something bad again this quarter, or is it just the stock and the stock market taking things down today?
Well, I have some notes. I'll probably share them in a bit, but I agree, right? I think one of the biggest bearish, I guess, scary things is we did beat in revenue, we did beat in earnings per share, and we did beat in guidance. But then the question is, it seems like a nice beat, but if you subtract that China revenue of the MI308, it's not as bad. It's not as good as a beat. I think it was still a beat, but it wasn't as good. And then I think the market also for the guidance, they did include $100 million of MI308. I think the only reason they included that guidance, and guidance was still strong. I mean, 9.8 billion, which was a beat. It was raised. I think the market was expecting 9.4 or 9.3 billion. It was expecting to be a nice decrease in it. So they did beat in guidance as well. But it did have $100 million in China MI308. And I wonder, Neil, if the market is saying that this is all AMD is going to get from China this quarter, and maybe they were expecting more, but I don't think that's the case. I think they have an order that they're probably shipping right away that they know for certain is going to go through. They know for certain is going to go through because it's either happened already in this quarter, since we're already in the quarter, or it's going to happen very soon. They did not include anything else that might come out with the MI308 because they don't know if they're going to get those sales or get approved. And they also are not including the MI325, which Lisa did mention that they are submitting licenses for it, but they didn't feel comfortable putting it in their guidance. So I think maybe the market might be reading that that's all they can get from China, but we learned that that's not all they can get from China.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I did check real quick with someone that posted. So I think if you exclude the China, it's just a 2% beat or something like that. So still a beat, but not by much. I mean, with the after-hour action, we're now down actually 8%. We're going to be 15-16% from all-time highs, which, funny enough, is exactly what NVIDIA is doing right now. Also 15% from all-time highs. Did they, I assume, yeah, they talked about the MI450, so the rumors of it being delayed were incorrect?
It seems so, right? I mean, it could, these rumors could be right. They might be delayed by a week or two, they still mentioned that for the second half, right? That they gave us second half. Luckily, they never gave us a quarter, but they said for second half they still expect the MI450 to be out. And they mentioned revenue is actually going to start in quarter three. So revenue is going to start. They also gave us that information. Quarter three is where revenue is going to start, but the vast majority of ramp is actually starting in obviously quarter four. And they mentioned also, Neil, that the second half they do expect to see that 60% data center revenue growth that they kind of been talking about, and they expect it to go even over that. There's room for that. So second half looks extremely exciting. The delays could be true. Maybe they're delayed 1 week or 2 weeks, right? There might be technicality where it might be true. But at least if it's going to change the quarters, it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, by the way, this is the first quarter where the revenue is above $10 billion. So, I mean, I think it's also. I mean, next quarter they guided a little bit below, right? A 5% sequential decline is what I read. Specific reasons for that, or just Q4 is a strong quarter?
Just seasonality, they said. And let me just share. I'll share my guide, my stuff really quick. Share something else. Let me see if I can pull this up. So it's a lot of what you call it? Probably a lot of spelling mistakes. But let me zoom in. So these are my notes. So they're saying that looking the MI400 continues expanding in forms of customers. They're in active discussions at scale for multiple customers. So at scale, it's not just OpenAI, right? They have multiple customers that they're looking at scale for the MI450. And they mentioned that it's mainly going to be rack scale solutions of the MI450 right now. Eventually, they're going to kind of do the 8-way and other solutions. Next, they have multiple OEMs will provide support for the MI450 for strong supply. They mentioned HPE and Lenovo. They talked the MI500 2027 is still on track. They mentioned strong CPU sales for desktop, mobile, and enterprise. Commercial, too, kind of the enterprise grew 40%. For 2026, they do see system on their kind of unique chip, their semi-custom chip to decline due to console cycle, which makes sense. But Microsoft is releasing their next gen. I didn't even know Microsoft had already announced it, but they are releasing their next gen in 2027. Their embedded business was up 20% year over year on design wins. Now the CPU needs, CPU needed for AI agentic solution. So AI is definitely pulling demand for CPUs. The edge market also has potential from embedded CPUs that they talked about during CES. The AMD, they mentioned that there wasn't anything here with the MI350. They did see an increase in inventory by 600 million up to 7.9 billion, just to the massive amount of data center demand they see. They did kind of guide it for 100 million of MI308 sales. They mentioned sequential decline, unfortunately, this quarter. Maybe that's why the market is also not liking it. It's sequential decline. But I think there is a potential for us to even beat it and actually be a sequential growth, especially if we get a little bit more China sales. But sequential decline driven mainly by gaming and embedded offset. Now, there were a few questions. Again, MI450 is developing on track for a second half launch. Customer engagements are going well. Data center CPU even though sequential decline, they did mention data center CPU and GPU revenue will be up. It's more the commercial side that is seeing the weakness. MI450 will start in quarter 3 with significant volume into quarter 4. They did submit licenses for MI335. The second half of 2026 is greater than 60% growth. Growth greater than 60% is certainly possible. They also mentioned the CPU TAM is growing strong double digits in 2026. This is server CPU, not client CPU. This is server CPU because commercial CPU is actually declining. But even with client market declining, they still expect to grow in the PC space. So that's all I had. They mentioned that there was a question, any risk of potential issues of your ramp. They're saying no, they're testing a lot. Obviously, there's always risk, but I think they shared a lot of information.
So basically, very good quarter, good guidance, good comments. Second half of the year should be very good and fun to see because the growth is probably expected to be quite explosive there. Stock is down. Okay. Don't see anything bad with the company compared to what I had to cover earlier today.
But I agree. I mean, I think that one of the weakest point was the guidance for the short term, right? I think that the guidance for this upcoming quarter might not be the best, and the market could be worried about that. But I think the guidance for the full year looks really, really strong. Even though they didn't give the commentary for the guidance that we will see for 2026.
But they still couldn't give us the AI accelerator number for 2025, despite 2025 being behind us. Like they told, what did they say? Q3, Q4 was an increase or something like that, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? They don't share too much. Someone was asking here, Neil, how is sequential decline good guidance? I mean, it's good guidance compared to what the market was expecting. The market, AMD has still been, their AI story hasn't begun just yet. And actually, let me just take this out because it's blocking you. AMD hasn't seen that AI story where they're growing every quarter. So there's still kind of a cyclicality with them. The overall market was still expecting a sequential decline. That's what happens in semiconductor companies. But if it's better than the overall market, that's still a good. It's all about perspective of understanding how the business is.
But the big move is starts mid 2026. That's when I don't think we should be expecting sequential declines anymore. Once the MI400 series is up and running, I would be very surprised if we see sequential declines.
Agree. I think they even mentioned after that the second half is going. I mean, they guided for 60% compounded annual growth rate for the upcoming years, and that's expected to come and be with that inflection point of the MI450. Let's see. This is another thing, right? Maybe Q2 might not be as strong. This is another fear. Due to why would you be buying the MI350 if the other chip is going to be coming out, the MI450? So like NVIDIA, AMD has mentioned, the inflection point starts at the second half of this year. Anything from here on out, if we do get the China, if we do see sequential growth, that's an upside. But I think the real story is still not until the second half of this year.
Plus, I mean, still their client business is. I mean, that's the thing. NVIDIA's data center business is by far the largest segment for a company. For AMD, data center is, of course, going to become pretty big in the future, but it's still size-wise quite close to the client segment of the business. So despite the MI400 series coming out mid-2026, you are still getting some positive boost from the other side of the business, which is still about the same size of the data center business for now. Still expecting data center to be much, much bigger 12 months from now. And of course, it will continue to be much bigger in the future.
And that's also right there why memory can definitely impact this company, at least right now. They talked about how memory pressure is definitely impacting the consumer space. Right, they talk about that's kind of creating that headwind in the consumer space. So if you do own certain consumer stocks, it's kind of an indication that maybe this year won't be the best. They even mentioned that it actually is expected to get worse in the second half of this year with some of those memory prices. So maybe if you might be a Micron investor, you might be a bit excited. I'm curious to see how Micron is down. Let's see, what is NVIDIA doing? NVIDIA's down. Supermicro reported also. Supermicro up about 5%. AMD down about 7%. I wonder how the AI infrastructure plays. Not down how I thought would be. Nebius not down. I don't know if you saw Oracle also kind of did their offering today of $20 billion. I think after market, they showed that information. I'm surprised it's not down more. It's down about, I guess because the market was already expecting it.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the neoclouds were green today, despite everything else being red. So I guess that's fine. I do wonder what will happen if OpenAI manages to raise $100 billion or 150. I don't know what the number is today anymore, but imagine if they do. Imagine if they are successful to raise that amount of money. They are secured until 2030, right? It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I mean, because at that point they're good, right? They're growing. Because I mean, remember, they're most people, all the revenue that they get, they probably put back in compute. So what they're expected to do $20-something billion this year. So if you get 150 billion, then you put that 20 billion, you're able, and then next year you actually grow your revenue to $40 billion. Like I agree, I saw that they're planning on racing even closer to over 150 plus. If they do, how can you be worried about OpenAI failing in the next 3 years or 4 years? Like, it's just not possible. With that type of money. Maybe Sam could make it possible. Sam would be the first person to blow $150 billion in a quarter. But if they do race north of $100 billion, Neil, I can't see how there's that fear of OpenAI anymore.
No, I agree. It eliminates the fear. Plus, I mean, the fact that Anthropic is becoming so big should already balance things out a little bit more than before. We've talked about that before, right? The fact that, let's say, OpenAI doesn't make it or is going to become as big as expected. Anthropic is. And so there is someone, Miles, commenting, Jose and Neil, you're not listening and trying to work out the answer. Sequential decline. Oh, that is it. That will be on all the news, right? Reports on earnings. I don't think so.
And I think, I mean, this guy, Miles of Rare Books, it's maybe you're not listening. It's not that we're worried about this quarter or next quarter, right? The inflection point is the second half of the year. I'm perfectly fine holding a stock that I'm exciting for the growth opportunities, right? So maybe if you want the trade for tomorrow, this is not it. Maybe if you want to trade for this quarter, this is not it. But that's not what we're talking about here, right? So it's different investment styles, different types of opportunities. If you want the short term, I don't think AMD is it. It's going to be completely volatile with anything.
Is the stock still up over 100% over the past 12 months or not? Just I don't know, curious.
Just quick check, right? Just a quick check if this is dead money.
100 and probably 100 now still. Interesting. I mean, we did also hear, I mean, you said the 60% increase. It's not a pretty big number, right? You can either focus on the 5% sequential decline or on the 60% increase. Yeah. I mean, the stock being down, okay, fine. It wasn't the cheapest one in the market either, right? So let's not forget that. Plus, we are 15% away from all-time highs. So it's not like this thing crashed 50%. Although, you never know what might happen tomorrow or over the next couple of days. Who knows? This is a weird times right now in this earnings season. And tomorrow we do have Alphabet. Maybe they will save us or destroy every AI startup that exists. That's also a possibility. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow we have, what else do we have? Do we have any other ones tomorrow? I know we have Amazon.
In the morning.
Oh, we have Uber in the morning. Uber looks cheap, man.
Uber is at $77, I think.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. Also down today. Shopify was also down almost 10% today. I don't know what happened today, honestly. Like some random names crashed. I guess that's the PayPal effect. Like PayPal was like, you know what? We are creating bag holders for everyone. Everyone bag holder today.
I posted a comment today and it backfires. Like, we can't be making fun of PayPal shareholders, but now we can't be making fun of AMD and the rest of the market either.
But yeah, tomorrow we have Uber before the open, Novo Nordisk, Eli Lilly, and then after the close, it's Alphabet. I think ARM as well. No?
Oh yeah, ARM is reporting. What is ARM actually doing right now?
And even Qualcomm is, I think, also tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we have Amazon on Thursday.
I don't know. It's Neil, I thought ARM I think one of the things we talked about is this one was just the business was good, but just crazy valuation. I still think it's crazy, but not as crazy anymore. ARM is I'm like looking at it from the side eye right now. I'm not giving it full attention, but from the side eye, it is starting to get some
To me,
views.
to me, it still has the same issue. It's that it is so
SoftBank
strong
wallet.
of a business, but we are not seeing the acceleration in growth, which is mind blowing to me. I don't know. I don't know how that's even possible, but
I mean, the only thing is like you saw NVIDIA now going to do the Vera CPU individually. At CES, they also mentioned that they expect to be like the biggest CPU provider soon, pretty soon. Like that was wild. So I mean, that could be potential, obviously, licensing for ARM. But yeah, I agree. I think like if you look at the actual revenue growth, it's not indicative that this is really a growth story.
Yeah. Now there is also Iron Thursday. I don't know.
And Amazon.
People have been tweeting on X and like, oh, Amazon deal and Google deal and tomorrow and yesterday and 2 days ago and three. Like, where do these people come up with these types of rumors? Like every week I see, don't say I didn't warn you. Deal coming, Amazon and Google and whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me also make up some story. Doesn't make much sense.
That's how you go viral and become the ultimate stock person, And then eventually someone's gonna announce a deal and be like, "See, I told you,
Exactly.
I told you."
You have Mbappe in the comment. Did Couch quit YouTube or something after PayPal crash? Why did he not stream on his channel? I did stream PayPal on my channel, but I didn't stream AMD because I just arrived at home. So.
Oh, you were not at home. So you were traveling before.
So I was streaming at the airport.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, the plane almost didn't take off. I can tell you that much. But yeah, I thought I had to hop on right now and talk a little bit about AMD, but seems like that one is also going down. But in this case, it's going down not because the results weren't great or Lisa Su is getting replaced. But yeah, the PayPal one was, he shocked me, that's for sure. He was shocking the world. Well, it definitely shocked me. But yeah, that wasn't great.
Let's see. And some people here are saying iron is real. I mean, I don't think we're saying iron is not real. It's more like the deal was like, I think people are just going and creating random deals. Those deals may eventually happen, or they're obviously going to do. I mean, they have to deal with Microsoft, but it's just a few weeks ago, I think the stock was up 7% just because someone tweeted a post that they were going to get a deal with Anthropic the next day.
Anthropic.
Yeah, and then that deal never came out. It's possible that they're working on it, but it's just people just there's no way someone has that inside information.
Yeah. Now, to me, with Iron on Thursday, and I think for most smart investors, as long as the AI cloud revenue is a fraction of the overall revenue, it's going to be a problem optics-wise for Wall Street. Because today, based on what we know, is the majority of the revenue comes from Bitcoin mining. And so, of course, when Bitcoin prices go down, it affects Iron. But if maybe Thursday, or hopefully in the guidance, we hear that AI cloud revenue is expected to grow quite a lot because the GPUs are up and running, then I think it changes the way Wall Street looks at Iron. But as long as they generate literally a fraction of revenue from AI cloud, then yeah, Wall Street will just take it down a little bit by bit.
And people are saying Anthropic has Amazon. I think it's just so much demand. Anthropic is expected to grow like crazy. I mean, you had OpenAI had Microsoft, right? And then OpenAI had Oracle, and then OpenAI had CoreWeave, and then OpenAI had Amazon, and then OpenAI had Google, and then OpenAI had I forget who else. I think they have them all. Everybody has the OpenAI badge now. It's not worth that much anymore. But even though Anthropic has Amazon, if Anthropic, I think Anthropic is growing at crazy levels, that they're also going to need to work with other players. We saw that partnership with Microsoft. Obviously, they have Google as well. But Leo, I haven't gotten your thoughts on Microsoft. What are your thoughts there?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening there, because it is getting. Look, it's not Meta or Alphabet cheap like last year, right? I think we can safely say that.
Yeah.
But it is getting to a level where you're like, okay, why is Wall Street taking it down so much, right? Because even PE wise, we're now in the under 30 times earnings for a company that grew its major cloud business by only 38% last quarter, and the market did not like the 38%. They wanted 39%. Is it because of their over-reliance on OpenAI? Maybe. Is it because nobody uses Copilot other than the enterprises that are forced to use it? Maybe. But all in all, and yes, I do need a drink. It's been a very long day. Very, very, very.
We're about to get off in 5
day.
minutes, Neil.
It's a very, very long day. But I'm happy to be here, not to talk about PayPal. But Microsoft, I mean, it's an amazing business, cloud-wise, software-wise as well. Am I going to buy it? Probably not, because I don't know, for some reason Meta is back at $700 or so. So I'm like, okay, I can still pick that one up and grow 30% year over year.
But with Microsoft, I just don't think it's fair to compare. Obviously, Google and Meta. I agree. It's not in the same valuations that Google and Meta were about a year ago, or even Meta just a few months ago. But I think those two have always traded at a way cheaper valuation than Microsoft. I think Microsoft has always had like a premium. So I wonder, like, if the deviation between what like the normal is for Meta, what the normal is for Google, if that difference is pretty much the same difference that now we see with Microsoft with its overall main business, or kind of like that difference of how it normally trades, because I think historically, I mean, those two were always the cheaper Mag 7s, no matter what type of market we were in. And it seems like you're in multiple places. You're here and releasing a PayPal video as well.
Correct. But someone asked, did I sell my PayPal? I sold my PayPal shares. Yes, I bought Robinhood. I still have my options from, whatever's left from them, but the shares are gone because.
Did you sell because of today events?
What?
Did you sell today, or is this old news that you sold before? Or
no, I sold when the market opened. I sold my shares because the worst thing to me is when management doesn't tell me the full story and then I get screwed over. PayPal is still remains cheap, but in this case, you don't tell me the full story. Plus, the fact that they replaced the CEO also tells me that clearly they could have told me this 3 months ago. It's the ultimate line that was crossed. So for now, I bought Robinhood because that's a founder-led company that actually executes and moves fast. The rest, probably goes into Rubrik or something like that. But going back to the Microsoft discussion, it's true that if we look at the average, I think the 10-year average PE or something like that, it is probably trading closer to it, if not under it. Of course, if you go back 15 years or something like that, it did not really have a cloud business. So it is a bit different today. But it is still growing 38% cloud-wise. The whole business grew, what, 16%, 18%?
I don't know the whole business. I just did see. I was
probably closer to those numbers, right? So I mean, if you're looking for another Max 7 to buy, maybe that's definitely one on the list. Although me personally, I don't need to add a Microsoft to the portfolio right now. I'm pretty happy with the Meta, Alphabet.
You have
some Amazon.
Yeah.
But whatever happens with Amazon, Amazon is okay. 238. Yeah, I mean Meta is back under 700.
Yeah.
Okay. So
today sucked.
There's no.
Okay, so Yeah.
There's no discussion here.
All right, Neil. I appreciate you jumping in. Make sure to go get some rest. Make sure to go get a drink. And everybody else, appreciate it. I'm pretty sure maybe Neil's gonna get some rest. I don't know if he'll drop an AMD video tonight. All right,
not
so
tonight.
not tonight.
Not tonight.
I'll probably drop a video within the next few hours, just kind of going on some of my raw thoughts on it. Obviously, appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining me. If anything, make sure to check out Neil. I'm pretty sure everybody knows him, but Couch Investor on YouTube.
It's now Stool Investor.
It's not Stool
the
Investor.
couch.
We sold the couch. Stool Investor. And always appreciate it. I will be live streaming tomorrow at 11 o'clock for a quick hour of just Q&A sessions. So if you guys want that, and then depending, I might be streaming earnings tomorrow. I don't know where. I don't know if anybody's gonna be streaming. If I'm gonna be joining Amit, if he's streaming,
we can definitely stream.
yeah.
Google.
If not, I'll be joined with Neil. So we'll be streaming somewhere, definitely on the channels. But we do have, I think Google's going to be crucial. Just about, I think all the Mag 7s are just nice to listen to. All right. Peace out, guys. Peace out, Neil.